Because she got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
Good screaming, everybody.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Hello!
Hello.
We're back.
You guys, are you familiar with this brand?
Yeah, it's LaCroix.
I've heard it pronounced LaCroix, but
Well, I don't recognize France anymore.
I thought LaCroix was a clothing thing. Oh, it's not a drink.
they say this tastes like this is lemon. They say this tastes like if you drink water while someone in the next room yells lemon really loud.
I joined Phil in disavowing the existence of France after the past couple of weeks.
It's
I
LaCroix.
disavow the existence of lemon.
Yeah, that's why I drink
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death, which I didn't know this, but it's Joe Manganiello's freaking company.
Whoever
The
the
guy
fuck is.
What?
he's the guy. That's the guy, right? Am I saying his name right? He used to be married to Sofia Vergara.
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, he used to play Deathstroke in that Justice League movie for one scene. He was Flash Thompson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and he's a big Dungeons and Dragons fan.
I don't know who that is.
Joe Manganiello.
That
his
means
name?
he's lame. He should be a fan of Pathfinder.
Dude, he's awesome.
He's a comic artist. Joe Mad.
Not Joe Madureira.
Joe Madureira. He got married. He hyphenated his name. He got married to Susan Herrera. He became Joe Madureira, and he owns Liquid Death.
No, this dude.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Shit. Well, it's because you're.
No one knows who these people are,
You
Phil.
weren't born
How do you
here.
think you know Joe fucking Madureira?
You're talking to an Englishman and an American and a
Joe
non-American and a
Manganiello.
hermit, Phil.
Did you see Spider-Man with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man? He played Flash Thompson.
No.
No way.
That sounds like not my issue. Everybody knows who this is. He's also host. He's host of the new Deal or No Deal Island.
They had to put it on an
That's
island.
what he looks like.
Let's step it up.
Say he looks like the
Deal or
new
No
host
Deal
of Fear
Island.
Factor.
Deathstroke. He played Deathstroke in one scene, in a post-credit scene.
He looks like some American Idol judge.
No.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
nondescript
Uncultured.
Hollywood guy.
He's got
Uncultured.
Deal or No Deal Island is that.
It's new. Yeah, I don't know why they put it on an island, but
They
he's
had to
host.
step it up. They kill everyone who gets voted off. And they cross the border. That's why they had to do it in international waters so they could kill people. I'm all for it.
Micah Rushbrook knows. See, he loves D&D. Yeah.
Wait, it has a critical role?
Huh? I'm sure he's been on a Critical Role. I don't know.
I might have seen it on critical role. I was going to check your mic. I'm on the right mic. I have a cold. The problem is just my voice and my existence,
Yeah.
not my mic.
No, she was on the wrong mic earlier, but then she fixed it.
Yeah. So now I just sound like I'm talking through my nose because I have a cold.
Well, welcome everybody to the show. We took last week off because I had to close the arcade, but we're back. We're back with a vengeance. We have a topic today, which I'm excited about. Guys, we have more than 3 slides tonight.
Oh my god!
That's way too much.
Amazing.
We got slides. If you guys haven't seen the show before, please hit that like. We do this every Thursday. It's a rotating show on our channel, so make sure you are subbed. All of our channels are down below in the description as well. And we talk about comics, storytelling, creating comics, and learning about the craft. And then we also, talk about what we've done this week. We got a lot of people in the chat. Thank you for being here. I see Shelby Robertson is here. My good friend Shelby. Great to see you. TC is here. Who are these people? TC asked. Bancroft already slinging mud at the multiverse. Multiverses suck. That's the show.
Ha ha
That's
ha.
what I said in the chat when Phil suggested the topic. He said, "How about multiverses?" And I said, "And about how they're all shit, right?" What did I say?
Yeah, basically. Use some British colloquialism that I didn't understand.
Glaucomerism. Oh,
Yeah.
and how it multiverses and how it de facto sucks. There we go.
British
Yeah.
glaucoma.
Yeah, it's that thing in your ear, like the cloaca. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, we've all got.
That is not
cloacas
what
in
a
our ears.
cloaca is. Oh my.
Kirby wants me to use my spooky voice. I'm gonna send you a cease and desist, Kirby, because no one said you could listen to my voiceover. All right, I should be ceasing and desisting John Dillard. But tomorrow, speaking of John Dillard, make sure you guys tune into my show tomorrow because we're gonna be premiering the trailer for our next book, Psycho Slumber, voiceover by the Golden Pipes of John Dillard. We're really excited for it. So you guys be there or be square. But it's been 2 weeks. What has happened? Has anything big happened to any of you guys?
I'll go first. I saw a movie last night that was called After Hours. It's a Martin Scorsese movie.
Yeah.
And it was great. But it was like, I didn't know he did that style of movie. It's like only an hour and a half long. It's not 3 hours, 4 hours long. And it's like, I don't know. It's about a guy who has the worst night ever. He can't get home out of Soho in New York, and a mob ends up thinking he's robbing everyone. They try to kill him, and it's like a farce almost. But then you're not laughing out loud, but you're like, this is ridiculous. But then it's like kind of serious the whole way through too, like a kind of like a Scorsese movie. I was like really enjoying it. And yeah, what else? There was something else that happened too, but I don't know.
Did you play basketball? Did you school any kids on the court?
No, I'm 2-0 right now in one-on-one, but I haven't had a one-on-one game in like a month. So
Yeah, stay on top.
yeah.
That's good. Oh, I meant to bring this up. I think I bookmarked it on Twitter, but people have been getting your books.
Yeah. I mean,
bunch of people.
Travis said earlier that he got. Oh wait, you mean my books or?
No, not Narwhal's books.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's not your turn, Jake.
Stealing his thunder.
Sorry, I'll leave.
I got a review from a guy, and he said that he found me through Reenie's channel, which was nice. That's fun. That means all our efforts are sort of working.
Cool.
Yeah, that's dope. That's what we want. Yeah, but look at this. Is all the way from Germany. Skunk Artworks, our boy. Good to see you,
he's
Skunk
great.
Artworks. Look at that lot.
Yeah, I want to work with him eventually. He's awesome.
Yeah, he was awesome art. Great artist.
Yeah. But yeah, people are getting Grand Prix. I've started thinking about Grip Part 3. I feel, I got a morale boost a little bit because of the good reviews. Because the campaign ever so slightly underperformed. Not terrible, but it didn't do quite as good as I hoped. But and Reading helped me with the closeout on that too, which was awesome. We made like $2,000 on the last day, I think. But the good reviews are pumping me up. I'm like, Part 3, I'm getting some plans going. And I remembered too, the other thing I was gonna say, a really quick like writing journal type thing is I'm still in my free time writing a little Percival, and I kind of finished a whole script, and I was pretty pumped on it. It would be these are designed to be TV shows and not movies, so and it ended up being a little bit longer than that even, but it was like a 65-page script. And I don't always do this, but I sent it to Jared to read. Jared, the frequent collaborator doing Hotel Story,
Yeah.
And it's funny, he sent me back, the main line I remember him saying is, he goes, I do feel like the second half is working pretty well. And I was like, wait a minute, are you saying the first half is not working? And he's like, and I'm like, and so I went completely back to the drawing board, and and I was trying to remember, I was like, have I lost it? I've lost the touch. And I was like, I used to be able to write so easily, and now it's so hard, and I will never write anything good again. And I was like pretty depressed, but then I was like, no, I'm pretty sure like Earthbound or whatever, a lot of those scripts, I rewrote them a ton, and the first drafts were not good, and it takes like 3 or 4 drafts, and then it starts getting good. So that's what I'm back to the drawing board with Percival. I thought I had a big checkpoint and I didn't.
Yeah, I just finished writing a script that I've been working on for a long time. I wrote it and then I basically rewrote it and then cut a bunch of stuff out too because I had to get rid of pages for page counts. And I'm super happy with it. And now I could move on to some other scripts and stuff down the line. And I can't tell you how happy I am with all the stuff that's been going on. But Jake, you, sir, just as Pear, people have been getting some of your books as well. I've been seeing them on the Twitter keychains. I haven't gotten mine, but keychains have gone out.
Oh yeah! Oh no! Oh no!
Did you?
So I did send out. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. I thought you were bringing that up because I'm supposed to send yours.
No, I saw this. Dear Man, our boy Dear Man, shouts to Dear Man. He recently broke his hand, so best wishes. Hope he gets well soon. But he's got time to read some books. So I think he got your book and the keychain. I think he did another post showing the book.
Yeah, so like a lot of them went out on the same day, and like Dear Man posted his, like he got his books. Then I saw Tech Zombie.
Yes,
I'm trying to think of more people.
Caleb Reynolds, right? I think he
Caleb
posted one.
Yes. And like Jav Styler in the chat said he got his today too. And Ellie Nunez, well, what is it right now? It's Ellie New Dungeoneer. He got his apparently. Yeah, people have been getting them. I'm not sure if the Bancrofts made it all the way to Australia yet. But yeah, like that's been really cool. You know, the first campaign I've done, the first little super special limited edition preview book, everyone's been getting it. People who have had a look at it and they've enjoyed it. I wonder if TC, have you had yours yet? Because he was the biggest DD enthusiast. So
he says
related content.
He just said Carnal is officially out in the wild now. He's a real comic book character, and Jake is a comic book artiste.
Can you believe it? I'm a preview comic book artist.
That's right.
But yeah, so like Carnal-wise, that happened this week. Thank you, Dear Man, for taking such a nice photo with the keychain. Doesn't it look amazing? Now you have to put it on your keys. Like everyone who gets them, you're like cursed bound to have to put on the keychain. Otherwise, bad things will happen. So yeah.
Congratulations on becoming a real boy.
I'm a
real comic artist.
That's right.
But yeah, Carnal-wise, more stuff happened. All of the rough pencils are done for the first book. Like we're hoping to launch October 1st. All of the rough pencils are done.
Dude, that's so close.
I'm so happy with the fucking story. Like I'm so happy with it. I'm not sending it to people to read. You know how I would usually send links and be like,
yeah,
can you look at this and tell me this is so.
Now you're that means you're satisfied and kind of locked in, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm fully locked in. I sent it to a couple of people just because one of them, I have a friend who made some pretty drastic criticisms, which is what I'd been waiting for ages. Mm-hmm. And then I actually took a couple of months like making some pretty drastic changes based on that feedback. I'm so fucking happy with. There are things revealed in the story that I wasn't planning on revealing for like a while. It's good. I can't wait to start drawing it. And one thing I have been doing, which I can show off, is I've been starting drawing the cover.
Oh,
do you want to see? Phil? Do you want the first peek? So all of the pages in the book, they're read individually, but they're all laid out as double page spreads. So it only makes sense that the cover should be a wraparound cover, right? Like if all of the pages are spreads, the cover should be a wraparound. But yeah, let me see.
Wait, Bancroft says he didn't send it to me, which I'm happy about.
I did send it to you.
Oh,
I just because you didn't back it, and I just sent you one. I didn't get.
I think he means the new PDF that you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The new freaking Google Doc that I'd spam people with.
Remember, this may predate you, Jake, but back in the day, Bancroft was notorious for getting sent like scripts and art from specifically Skip Edwards and then never reading it and giving Skip feedback. That was a running joke on a show back in the day.
Wait, he wouldn't read it and gives feedback on the thing he didn't read?
Right. Yeah. So like Skip was this guy that used to be in Bancroft's and a lot of chats back in the day. And he was working on a book and he always would like almost beg Bancroft to look at his stuff. And then Michael would never.
I sent Bancroft one of the versions once, which was
Skip.
One of the ones where it was still drawn in pencil. And Bancroft, okay. Bancroft, very in particular, I'm hope will like the drastic changes and the big reveals at the end. But do you want to see part of the cover?
Yeah, should I blow you up?
Look.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
It's Connell skidding down something. You know what? I'll zoom out and I'll show you that
Let's
it's
zoom on a little bit.
Yeah, hold on. Let me.
I'm leaning in.
These little windows out the way so it can be seen, and then zoom in. But yeah, this is the cover so far that I've been working on.
Oh, is it a wraparound?
Full wraparound, because all of the pages double page spreads.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, they're laid out as spreads, but they're read individually. I'm thinking that like every cover is going to be a wraparound cover. But yeah, so it's
awesome.
There's more layers I could turn on. But yeah, I've been toiling away at this for like days. I usually draw really quickly. Like this was drawn in like a day. And then when someone suggested changes, I was pissed off because it would mean I'd have to spend one more day on it. But with this, I've decided to take a lot of time. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with Connell's cheeky little face. And look, he's even going for the boob grab on this one.
You gotta. Mm-hmm. He's a man of good taste.
But no,
nice.
As you can see, first, I wish it would focus. First cover, no blue dick axe on this first cover. So I wonder what takes place across the course of this story. There's no prominent blue dick axe.
That's
on
good.
The first cover.
Keep
Unless
it.
That thing he's sliding down is.
It's basically a blue dick tube surrogate. In fact, if people who have the preview book, they will know what that is. It is a long tube wrapped in bandages. They'll know I think they'll know what it is. Yeah, they will. It's one of the character designs. One of the character designs in the back of the book, it links to that. So if anyone in the chat wants to call out the name of the character that long bandage tube is part of, then go for it. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to launch this thing. I'm looking forward to getting this cover done so then I can start putting the campaign together and everything.
Badass, man. Super excited about it. And Cocktober is right around the corner. That's COC, which is creator-owned comics. Mm-hmm. October. It is very close. It's coming up. It will be.
It will be. I'll be ready. But yeah, it's only like a couple of months ago. But away. So yeah, basically gearing up for launching that campaign on the 1st of October, aka Cocktober 1st, the once of Cocktober. I can't wait. It's
awesome. And Irene, how was your week?
My week was good.
No flooding of the
as
house.
usual.
Yeah.
No.
The house leaking?
No. Nothing collapsed. Nothing mostly nothing collapsed. Just same old, chugging my way through work, wrapping up some cover commissions and getting started on others. And the most adventurous thing that has happened to me is I tried to put up some soundboards in my studio because I decided I would try to be a serious streamer, like maybe be like a normal, actually put some thought into YouTube. And I taped up the soundboards. Yeah,
like the dampeners.
Like the foam. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I got kind of like thin, shitty ones because I'm like, I went for form over function, and I just had a bunch fall down and smash all my shit before the stream. So that was really great. Yeah. I broke some nice pens that I bought, so I'm really happy about that. They were like pretty dragon pens. Hold on, you wanna see my destruction? This is my idiocy. So look at these. Okay, this one's like the tip of this one broken. Well, look at this. These are nice, right?
Yeah,
I don't use them. I just
one of a kind pens that probably cost thousands of dollars.
Yes, thousands of dollars. They're not hit. This one's not broken, so watch me probably drop it and break it as well.
Isn't it broken?
Oh, the nose is broken. Yeah, so I have to glue I could glue it back together, but I was a retard and decided to just, I was like, oh, this one's actually not broken, so that's nice. No, it's fine. Yeah. Is it chipped? It's a little chipped.
It looks chipped. This is from foam boards?
Yeah, how does foam do that?
Well, they knocked them off the shelf. I have them on a low bookshelf, and the foam boards are up, and they fell.
Oh.
It was a Rube Goldberg of destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a cascade of disaster. But could be worse. Because I do own like original art and original sculptures, and if that had smashed, that would have been way worse. So look on the bright side.
None of that matters anyway, because it doesn't matter how many good acoustic tiles you put up because you have terrible mic placement. It's like right next to your head. You're not even talking into it.
Listen.
Fine.
Listen.
Wow.
I will learn to use my mic. Someday I will learn to use my mic properly. But yeah, no, that's about it. And I guess I do have an update. I haven't announced it yet, but that's because I just heard it from RJ. We're finally done with Fiendish Fulfillment for 2.5. It took a while. It took much longer than we planned, so I do apologize, but that's because there were a couple of batches that were a little fucked up. So the pins damaged some books, and there were a batch of store orders. We were trying to fulfill the store orders and the campaign at the same time, which I think I need a better system for separating those. But anyways, we're done with fulfillment. We have some people that receive damage. That includes like damaged book orders. So those are also going out and will be done. So if you ordered any Fiendish books, give it another week or so. You should have your book. And I'm so happy. It feels good to be finally done with all the shipping. I'm very glad. So yeah. And if you missed out, you can still order the books on the website, fiendishcomic.com.
That's right. Everybody check that out. All of our links are in the description below. You could grab Fiendish stuff on her website. We could get Narwhal stuff on his eBay, which ships out as well. My stuff on zadecomics.com, which we're adding new merch. We took a tip out of Irene's arsenal doing that printful stuff. So my brother spent like all week hooking that stuff up, and tomorrow we're going to be showing off a new shirt that is dropping. It's going to be freaking awesome, and that'll be up on the site tomorrow. And then Jake, also, you still have your sign up for Carnal?
Yeah, you can go to carnalcomic.com or bluedickx.com. Both of them are working now. I figured it out. Squarespace is bullshit. So yeah, you can go to both, and they both still work. And you can sign up ready for October 1st. If you do sign up, you'll get a free trading card drawn by Irene. The hedgehogs.
There we go. Kick ass. Awesome. Great start. And thank you guys for being here. Make sure you hit that like if you guys have not subbed. Please do so to all of our channels. And shout outs to Mr. Dark Gift for raiding into the show. He did his awesome, what's it called? Cockfight, which is create your own comic fight, between Chris Graves and Joe Sontag. That was a great show. Lots of fun. Dillard was over there as well. But everyone that came over from that show, thanks for being here. Tonight, we're talking about, I was thinking, I'm like, I used to do, when we first started this show, I would do a lot of like archetype discussions, discussing character archetypes and stuff like that. And I couldn't think of one. I'm like, I kind of want to do one again, but maybe next time I will. But I thought, since this is a craze going on in the past 5 to 10 years, we talk about the theory of multiverse and how it's used in storytelling predominantly in comic books. It's kind of overrun the last 40 years of the comic book industry, and we'll get into that. I know you guys, Jake, you and I were talking about it earlier. A lot of popular.
Multiverses. I think it's the greatest concept ever invented. It should be inserted into every IP. I think there should definitely be like 7,000 different cosmetic versions of every character that completely watered down the character until they become like just a logo or a color scheme. I think that's great. It strengthens the brand.
Yeah.
But although Jeff Steller says he liked it in Rick and Morty for a bit, that is a good example. There's an entire show based on multiverse stuff instead of like wrenching it into something just to IP farm and make a bunch of variant characters that you can own forever. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think of multiverses. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic.
We'll get into it. I do have. I missed a super chat from Angela Curry. Let me pull it up. Thank you, Angela. Always great to have you in the chat. For $5, she says, "Hey, blockheads, Jake, why are you in a safe room with donuts, cheersies, and bonks for Reenie Woo? What about Pear? Isn't he getting bonks?"
Thanks for the bonks, Angela.
I don't think
I really
artistically triggered by the bonks.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Angela wants to know about your donut safe room.
So I'm now a citizen of the amazing land of Donutopia. Not British. If you take away the super chat, you'll see even below my name.
Oh, hold on.
For a sec. It says not British. It's right there.
That's right.
So, it's definitely not a covert operation to avoid the social media police. Which don't exist in Donutopia. There's complete freedom of speech in Donutopia. So there's nothing crazy. I moved to a different room and I don't have a setup yet. So I have my Simpsons blanket. It does look very safe roomy. I do look like a hostage.
I think you're secretly in prison right now, streaming live from British jail.
I think either you're in British jail or you have already escaped England land, which would probably be a better idea. You should do that.
I moved to my upstairs basement, and which I've now declared.
What?
My upstairs basement, which I've now declared as an entire new country. It's new territory. There's no jurisdiction from the British social media police. I'm calling it Donutopia, and I am the first citizen. I get to make all the rules.
Well,
they're still going to find a way to arrest you.
Not a lot of people know this about you, Jake, but you live above a bowling alley and below another bowling alley.
Yeah, I love bowls so much that I specifically chose to live between two large collections of bowls.
Oh my goodness! All right, here's your bonk, Angela.
Simply Green says, "Yeah, I'm in the Hyper Wizard Autonomous Zone. Yes, I'm in the Hyper Wizard Autonomous Zone. That's it. We've coined it.
There you go.
Yeah."
And another super chat, Angela Nards for $2, and Snuggie Drink Real H2O. Woo!
I have to share a super chat with Snuggie. That's okay. $1 each.
There you go. And another bonk.
Oh, I think I was muted. Oh, well. But thanks.
No, we heard you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Multiverse talk. You guys ready?
Let's go.
Yes.
As ready as I'll ever be, Phil.
All right. Here's my presentation. The multiverse. Is it dead?
In this universe, it is.
There you go. So we all know multiverse talk, and I wanted to bring this up later too, because I was thinking of. We'll get to a slide where it's like, what stories have the multiverse built into it? And Irene, would you consider Lock and Key a multiverse type story?
Oh, that is a hard question.
Because I haven't read it, but I know it's like going into different worlds, right?
Okay,
In this
no, I
house.
would not consider it
Oh.
multiverse. No, that's not lock and key. It's still one timeline. They just have these. Sorry, guys, my cold is I'm gonna be sniffly. They, it's not going into like different versions of themselves, except there are keys that can like change a person's race, change a person's gender. Did they have one that could change? Yeah, there's a key that can change a person's gender, but it's still in the same world. It's just the key changes. Lock and key is awesome, by the way, but it's all in the same continuity. It's not like, oh, these are different possibilities. So no.
Do they call them key changes?
Key changes?
No.
If the key changes things, so they call it a key change?
You should
Maybe
tell
it's a
that
turn.
to Joe
A key
Hill
turn.
and put him to shame over his fun skills.
GC says in another universe, all the hosts of Creator Block are hedgehogs.
A much better universe, I would say.
Huh. There you go. All right. Well, when you see lock and key in this presentation, just ignore it because I never read it. I asked Google and Google's AI. I asked Google and Google's AI explained it to me, and I thought it was a multiverse. I still would argue it's a world with multiple smaller worlds connected to it, but I haven't read it. I
mean, I guess it depends what you mean by multiverse. Okay, look.
Yeah, that type of multiverse is less retarded.
Right? Yeah, we'll get into it. I live in a multiverse of bookmarks.
It's more like different dimensions. There are different dimensions, but it's not different versions of one reality. So it depends on how you define multiverse. Correct.
All right, we'll get into it. Here is the multiverse baseline. So, like, just I guess the theory or concept, and I pulled this from. I actually have a Wikipedia that has like Marvel is a crazy multiverse. They literally have their universes numbered. And we're going to be talking about the difference of comic industry multiverses, which almost every big comic company has some sort of connected universe that makes it a multiverse. But I pulled this from a Wikipedia. This is for, I think, Marvel's take on it. The multiverse is a collection of alternative universes that share a universal hierarchy. A large variety of these universes were originated from others due to a major decision on the part of a character. Some can seem to be taking place in the past or future due to differences in how time passes in each universe. Often new universes are born due to time traveling, which is like string theory, right? Another name for these universes will be alternate timelines.
Yeah,
so you're trying to say thinking that the multiverse thing.
Yeah, it's got some similarities to time travel. You know what? An example of that is A Christmas Carol. When they take him to see the ghost of Christmas past and future or whatever.
Yeah,
they're kind of showing him alternate universes where like he's not happy or where he dies early or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Like if you take it even. I mean, like, what's a good string theory thing? Like Days of Future Past for X-Men, or even Age of Apocalypse, right? Age of Apocalypse takes place in the future, but it's an alternate timeline where Apocalypse took over the world. So it doesn't directly happen in the regular, what they would call the 616 timeline for Marvel, but it's an alternative. So this is a possibility. And we'll get into that where it's like a lot of these, before they branded it multiverse stories, they had a line of, DC had a line of comics, which was the Elseworlds, which was like this new pocket dimension that didn't even need to be connected in any way to canon, but for kind of cash grabby reasons, they always seem to tie these one-shot stories back into their universe to capitalize on like member berry type things.
Yeah, I mean, all a multiverse concept is just an alternate possibility play in a story, right? Like
Mhm.
I can take this character, have an alternate possibility, this location. It's just, but it's putting it in the same kind of like sci-fi terminology bottle in a way that tries to act like a genre. Because the part of the appeal of genres is people kind of like know what they're going to expect from them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can watch a horror film. There's this. I can watch an action. There's like a certain set of things people have expectations for that you can fulfill properly. If it feels like, oh, we're just using multiverse, it's kind of like genre-ifying a certain level of sci-fi to probably as a marketing thing. You know what I mean? Because you could play with possibilities and be more creative with it. Slapping the word multiverse, it kind of makes it inherently boring to me because it feels so known. Like what? Okay, you want to do alternate possibilities. That's supposed to be the ultimate unknown, but then you slap a label on it that makes it feel super known. I think that's part of why the word multiverse has become so lame, is because it's become a set of expected things that I think people creatively go for because it's genreifying. It's like expectations they can play with. But by doing that, they're doing the lamest version of alternate possibilities. Like Christmas Carol style is way more entertaining. Oh, a ghost came and showed me a bunch of shit that could happen, right? Is way better than like, oh, I put I put I went in the bathtub with a toaster and I woke up in a different possibility universe. Well, that's more creative. I went into a metal tube and came out and saw the other possibilities. Like the ghost rap is more fun. Think of better alternate possibility rappers.
You know,
Yeah.
real quick, one example of where multiverses kind of work is where they're not the central focus of the story, or used for a super convenient thing, if
Right.
like a plot convenience. But if they're more used for like texture, like it exists and it's there, that's like, you know, like Spider-Man. Presumably, the multiverse is in every Spider-Man story, or you know, it's like out there, but they don't
Right.
go to the multiverse every Spider-Man story, and that's kind of fun knowing that. But then as soon as they use it and it's plot convenient, then you're like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the downfalls. It's especially apparent in mainstream comics where there's already an established universe. So it feels like a crutch a lot of the times to readers, and we'll get into that. And there's obvious reasons that Marvel and DC have done this, but I just put here examples. Like literally there's a page that I found, like you can look up Marvel's multiverse on Wikipedia, and there's just a list of a bunch of arbitrarily named universes. Like, you know, Earth 616 is the established mainstream continuity for Marvel, but there's Earth 9213, which is the X-Men cartoons universe, and which is so odd that they would take another form of media and brand it a universe, so one day that the comics could cross over or something. I don't understand. Or they have 219.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's
The
crazy.
naming, the number naming thing has always bothered me. Like, no one who is brand new to comics like me, like, that's one of the things that would put me off. Like, I'm not going to remember the names, like, of the number chain for your universe. How am I supposed to keep track of all this? Look at this.
Yeah.
So
it's
this is crazy. Yeah, this specifically too, because I think Cranberry Langers or someone in the chat mentioned What If, which is an old comic series, basically like Marvel's version of Elseworlds, where it's like, what if Peter Parker was Iron Man, and it would be a one-shot story. But that universe, the What If universe, has its own brand numbers. So like who's the intern that has to come up with all of these numbers? Big Hero 6 has its own Earth universe.
Okay,
That's just nuts.
I wonder if there's numerology in there at all.
Like,
they're all
do the
evil.
numbers
They're
mean
all Satan
anything?
universes.
Yeah.
How do they actually assign the numbers? Like, what's the system? Did
They
ever
just rolled
explain?
several dice.
Look at this. The 1993 Punisher arcade game. The main setting of Marvel vs. Capcom series has its own Earth universe number. It's
Just
ridiculous.
call it the Punisher game, like alternate universe or some shit. I'm not gonna remember your fucking number chain.
I can imagine there's someone who's super nerdy who probably likes remembering all the numbers, though. There probably is some hyper enthusiastic person who probably does.
Yes.
To me, this
Simply
feels like
Green
it
has a-
waters. Go ahead.
Real quick, Simply Green says Earth 420. You know, like they all get high all day.
Earth 69, Earth 8085, Earth 420. Yeah, those are the only universes I promise to ever have in Fiendish, guys. Yeah, to me, this whole multiverse thing feels like it waters down the story, frankly. It feels like, okay, the only similar thing in manga is manga will sometimes do cutesy spin-offs, like aside from doujinshi, which is not canon part of the main series, those are fan comics. Sometimes mangaka will do little comic strips in the back of their books, like their characters in modern clothes, or if there's a modern series, their characters in the in the I don't know, Edo era or something. But then that's it. It's like a gag or a short comic, and they don't name it. They don't create a whole other universe for it. It's just something they play with. And that's why, in my mind, that's what I'm used to. So when you have so many alternate universes, it feels like, well, not only can any storyline be solved by let's just jump to another universe where this problem is solved, but it feels like there is no one continuity. So why does anything matter?
In that vein, all of my covers exist in their own bubble universes. They're all like a hypothetical alternate version of a scene where like every character ended up in that scene. Like it's like a bubble universe just for the cover.
Yeah, it's just a cover design. There's no need to make a whole universe for it. Imagine if we did. I think a lot of cover designs are like that. It's just something that looks cool as long as there are story elements on it.
It's not canon.
So my covers are their own universe now, guys.
There was a fun way that Futurama dealt with the numbering thing when they did that. They did one episode. It was in season 4, so it was one of the original ones. It was a great episode. They went to an alternate universe where the only difference was coin flips went the other way. But because both of them wanted to be like the main universe, they decided to call one of them Universe 1 and the other one Universe A. So awesome. Neither of them were the second one.
It's good stuff. All right, let's move on to the next slide here. So why would the big two implement these multiverses? Because there was a time, right? And I think one of the main reasons that it becomes so convoluted is because these comic universes did not start off as multiverses. They were indie. Some of them were independent publishers that then got bought by Detective Comics and then assimilated into the universe with Superman and Batman. So they built over time, and then someone thought of doing this kind of retcon. So the first example would be, or reason would be, to retcon or reboot, i.e. Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we've seen it throughout history at DC Comics. A lot of the crises will be big multiversal, events. So they'll do those big events to reboot something, and a lot of the time to build up hype for a new line of books and reinvigorate older readers that may have dropped off from the product that they had been buying at the shops. Unkilling a character. They did this with Barry Allen. They do this a lot in comics and between Marvel and DC. Keeping Elseworld stories canon. So you have a book like Old Man Logan, or what's another kind of pocket story? Killing Joke. So stuff that was self-contained, to seep it into the mainstream continuity of the universe, they'll make it just another part of the multiverse. Because
is that what happened with Watchmen?
Yes, yeah. So that's the last one, the crossover canon. So they did the crossover between Watchmen and the DC universe. So that was Doomsday Clock. So when they did that, what was that, like 8 years ago now? That introduced though that crossover to actually happen and establish that it was part of the DC multiverse. Also with Wildstorm, when which was Jim Lee's company, when he started working for DC, DC bought Wildstorm, and now they're assimilating those characters into the DC universe. And that happened recently again. Like they put that team into the DC universe, and no one talked about it. No one cared. I don't know how many people bought the book, but it did not create any buzz at all. You had like Zealot and all those characters mixing it up with the Justice League, and it's like you didn't hear anything about it. Sometimes it's just useless. Or changing it. Sorry, Jake.
I suppose in the nature of the multiverse as well, there would still technically be a universe where there's all the Watchmen stuff happened and it never crossed over, right? Like that probably still exists. Its own universe that never got ruined.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, they attempted to dip into Watchmen twice. They did probably like 12 years ago, the Before Watchmen, which was all like prequels of what happened before Alan Moore's stuff. And then that Doomsday Clock recently, where it was Superman versus Dr. Manhattan, that type of stuff. That was Jeff Johns. He did create a couple cool characters from that. I really liked the characters, the Mime and the Marionette. They were like boyfriend girlfriend team. They're pretty badass.
Wait, Dr. Manhattan would have been Superman would have no chance against Dr. Manhattan.
I know,
right?
I would think so. Yeah. I didn't finish the series. I think I have all the issues, but they were actually very late in between. It probably took a couple years or maybe 3 years for that series to wrap up. And I think it was 12 issues. But I did not finish reading the series. And then the last one I had here was changing a character. So what I could think of is with Wally West. So Wally West is the second like modern day Flash. And probably like 10 years ago, they had another Flash who was a black kid named Wally West from a different universe. And then they brought him into the main DC universe. And then they had this thing where white Wally West and black Wally West met. So that was another kind of like retcon, new character, but it's the same character. And it was really weird. So there's some reasons. But all in all, the obvious reason for mainstream to do a multiverse thing is retconning workarounds to make things make sense, in quotes, where it's like, oh yeah, we believe that, because it's easier and it's to kind of house cleaning, and to be like, oh, we got this new thing that's happening, come buy all this stuff for this big event. So
like wouldn't you get excited about a concept that's just general corporate ends tying together and neatening up IPs? I think that's the concept. So exciting.
Yeah, and they got, especially like DC got such in a groove of doing this like every 15 years, where it's kind of like a tradition now to have a crisis event, right? Crisis on Infinite Earths, Identity Crisis, even though that wasn't a multiverse thing. But having these crisis taglines as a big, everybody's got to come buy these books. So it's like working up to that and kind of like cheapening the event, because of they're making a mess of everything with a multiverse. Final Crisis was good though. Yeah, I think Final Crisis is the Morrison one.
There's kind of like these are like little brothers of multiverse. Like any crossover is almost like a multiverse story. But those are kind of fun. I think everyone.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you could do, and they have done crossovers where and that's why I like the term Elseworlds, because it's outside of the main canon. And I think when you do stuff like that, it could be really fun. And you don't have to worry about messing anything up in your main continuity. But these big companies, it's now established that they're set in a multiverse. Even the fact where like you had DC crossing over with Marvel, you know. Let's see.
Yeah.
People like Final Crisis.
You know something too? Multiverses, they always get meta, like possibly pretty quickly. Like Deadpool, obviously. Like I don't know if Deadpool. I think they do. They actually have like scenes maybe where they're like on a movie set or whatever. They walk in and all of a sudden they're in Hollywood. It's like the universe where they're all just actors or whatever. And like Stephen King with the Dark Tower, like he's a character. The author Stephen King is a character in his own multiverse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very meta.
Yeah. So that's like interesting. There's pros and cons to that too, but it's kind of cool in a way. I don't know.
All right, so this, and I get into that Dark Tower stuff as well. I thought Deadpool handled it well. It was the new film was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Did you, Jake or Irene? Did you guys see Deadpool yet?
No.
I'm meaning to soon. I haven't seen it yet. I'm honestly, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, going to go see it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but you know, even the Spider-Man one was pretty good. Is it called No Way Home or something?
That was a while ago, though.
No Way Home.
That
I
was
can't
forever
remember
ago.
what happened to that one. What happened to that
Well,
one?
the main one I
last
think.
film I saw too. No.
Oh, that's the one with all the Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, they got all the Spider-Man together, which is like fanfare, but it was still kind of fun. But the one thing that was cool is they kind of gave a little redemption to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man because he saves Mary Jane.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
He didn't save Gwen in his universe, and you can see it's really emotional for him. Like that hits, so that it's worth it almost just for that moment.
It does slap. Yeah, I want to watch that again because I remember enjoying it. Stuff like that could definitely go the right way. So here is right and wrong ways. I guess this is what this is titled. But I put reinvigorating your fan base. So this is the way to do it. It's probably why most companies do it. To jumpstart your line up with large multiverse spanning events. This can only work a few times before it becomes overused, though. And when you have a company that's running for over 50 years and you do this, 5 times, it becomes predictable and just seems more and more like a cop out to the fan base, I think. Let's see, doppelgangers or changes to beloved characters with name recognition. For example, Wally West, all the Wolverines and Spider-Man, that could have fatigue set in with that. And lazy writing to utilize the multiverse as a crutch. And these comics were not conceived as being a part of a multiverse. So, and that really, when I was thinking about this and kind of reading up on these companies and how they're a part of this huge connected multiverse, that really stuck out to me as the people that conceived these characters and created these companies and started stitching DC and Marvel together as one universe. They didn't intend them to be part of all these other different dimensions. And that's why I think a lot of it stands out as almost a cop-out or a crutch, if that makes sense.
Right. I think that's a really, really good point because I think if the original intent of a story matters a lot, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head of something that was at its inception created to be a multiverse, and I can't think of anything, but I'm sure that exists, and I think that could work better. But if, like, someone mentioned Back to the Future, that's technically a multiverse, I guess. Someone will think of a better idea, but that works because it's part of the concept and whatever. But I think the way it's done in superhero comics, at the risk of the flack I'll catch for this, is the problem is it's not really meant to be reinvented over and over and over again. These characters originated as one thing, and in the modern age, the way characters are written now, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, they have similarities to the way they were at their inception, but it's changed so much. It just baffles me. Why don't you create new characters? I don't really understand the continual changing, and it's almost like it's become too franchisified. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's not the original
think
intent.
I think there probably could have been a way of being reserved with it where it probably could have worked. So, like, if you think about it, another thing you can add to this list is like giving all older content relevance. You know what I mean? Like, when Iron Man came out, there was no Iron Man book to read that was current. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to go all the way back to the original stuff. And it's like, original Tony Stark is super fucking different, right? Like, it's black and white comics. He has the suitcase that he carries around, which turns into his suit. Like, that's almost a completely different character to, like, the one in the film. Like, you could, if you've made, like, this huge back catalog of stuff that was, you probably could, there probably is a good way to make all of that relevant by putting it into a multiverse. So it's like, it's still loosely connected to what we're doing now through some proxy that makes you have some kind of reverence for it or warm feeling that it's still real. You know what I mean? Without going too far and like, here's every flavor of Spider-Man at the ice cream counter,
right?
Kind of deal.
So, and to be fair, I think the reason those comics were in black and white is because Marvel UK printed in black and white back in the day, even though the American books were in color.
Wait, the original Iron Man comics where you had the thing as suitcase were in color?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Huh?
But it was the line art. It wasn't even grayscale.
That's weird. Yeah. No, yeah, I don't think it was. It is grayscale. To my knowledge, the UK old Marvel comics were black and white because they were printed over there too.
Okay.
I heard Mark Miller talking about that.
You got the special version of the book.
I wonder why they would use the black and white version as the reprint. Maybe it's cheaper. Yeah, look, there's one. It looked like that. Oh, fuck.
I can't imagine comics being printed like that in America.
It's not going to focus properly, but
yeah, everybody in the chat is editing my my spelling in here, guys.
What do you use? Are you doing these directly in Photoshop or something?
No, it's not spelled wrong. I just said I put an ed. I wrote the sentence incorrectly. Everything was spelled. There was spell check was on, guys. It's spelled correctly. It's just grammatically.
Is that a comma before a slash? What is that?
Where's that?
Stop. You finish the sentence, then put a slash.
Oh, that's a period and then slash. Yeah, because slash is my favorite Guns N' Roses member.
But Phil, it seems like you're trying to mainly talk about the one concept of multiverse that the mainstreamers use, right? Like that, it feels like like a unique thing with its unique rules and uses outside of what if style alternates or Back to the Future style timelines. You know what I mean? Or
right. Well, I'm gonna bring up stuff that, and we'll talk about, because you had an awesome example with some media that you were talking about that uses multiverse in a good way. But yeah, I just think it's very messy in a mainstream 50-year-long pedigree of a company that was not meant to have a multiverse involved in it. You know, I think that you could make awesome stories where the main plot point is a multiverse.
Yeah. You asked us, you said, think of an idea for our stories if we could use a multiverse. And I immediately thought with Earthbound, it would be funny if there was like Planet WizKid versus Planet Spaceman. And Planet WizKid is like 6 billion WizKids. And they all come from their different universe, but they get brought together. And the Spaceman planet would like start having a civil war immediately. and the Whiz Kid one would kind of be confused. They'd be like, I think they might settle on being communists for the greater good, because like we probably should be communist because we literally are all the same. This might be the one time that communism actually works. And,
It's like that Futurama planet of gray people. Like they're all gray. They're just like
The
everyone's
neutral guys.
Yeah.
yeah,
Tell my wife I said
Yeah.
hello.
yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, yeah. Does anybody else have any ideas? If you guys were able or had to do a multiverse story in one of your stories or IPs, what would be the way to go about it? And to be fair, comedy breaks every rule, so Jake has a free pass on this one.
The
get a free
way,
pass.
okay, so I have thought of doing something, but similar. Like we all dream of playing with, well, what ifs in our stories, right? But mostly what I have thought is doing a manga-ish thing, like what I was mentioning, a 4-panel, or like a short side joke story, but to explore some real what ifs in the world of Fiendish, I would use a dream world. That's what I would use. So it's not real, but you could still explore a character's psychology with a completely different setup that's not tied to what's going on in the real world, except through maybe symbolism. And it's all still about the character journey, but they're in a different environment. I would use dreams. Yeah, I don't want to depart too much. I don't want to do a whole different timeline. I think that will that's not my original intention, right? So it wouldn't work.
Yeah, what if Casimir was friendly? That's what TC says.
Amazing. Imagine that. Maybe this would be easier to
where
write.
Casimir gets hit on the head and he suddenly becomes really nice, and then at the end
Oh,
of the
yeah.
story, everyone's really likes him and everything goes well. But then at the end of the story, he gets hit on the head again and it gets reset. Classic trope.
Guys, you understand? I actually, the other day, I was just thinking, man, I really screwed myself over by having an asshole main character. I really need a more charismatic and likable main character. How do I fix this 3 books in?
Oh no.
Like, don't be me. So I'll just do that, have him be hit over the head in book 3, and then like, suddenly he's really happy.
Yeah.
That's like I always loved that about there was this supervillain in the old Adam West Batman 60s show, and his name was King Tut, and he was like a teacher by day, but in every episode he was in, at the beginning of the episode, something would fall and hit him on the head, and he would turn into the supervillain King Tut, and he'd start robbing like every museum in the city, and then at the end Batman would punch him in the face, and then he'd turn back into this guy who's like, oh, I didn't know. It's not my, he had 2 personalities. Pretty funny.
That's perfect.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what would I do?
Yeah, what would you do?
Bancroft, there is already
No,
a loosened layer in Connell. That's the thing, and I think
I already had that in Fiendish too. Like, what fantasy world doesn't have a dream layer?
there's a dream. Okay, in Connell's world, see, it's different in Connell's world. In fact, it's in the preview book. I think it's in the preview book. Yeah, in Connell's world, when people dream. And this is completely outside of the Lucent. I already thought, like, there's a place where the things they dream about become material. Like, they're not fake. They're actual physically happening. There's a fabric of reality that morphs when the psychology of the person like dislodges from the body during sleep, and like it's like what comes first, the soul or the atom. Like, so that it's basically a space where when the soul leaves the body, this space starts forming itself physically around like the intents and thoughts of the souls. So that's real. And
That's pretty cool, actually.
There may be stories where people get stuck there. There may be stories where people meet each other in there to solve problems. But it's different totally different to the Lucent. Totally, completely, 100% different. But like, yeah, so I suppose you could do multiverse stuff in there. I suppose maybe if someone focuses their mind Lucent dreaming style, they could probably like change who they were, meet different versions of themselves. Like it would get really cerebral, kind of like freaking. Do you know Psychonauts? Any of you guys know Psychonauts?
Yeah, the video game.
No.
Yeah, so in Psychonauts, there are people who go into other people's minds, and their mind is like an entirely metaphorical space based on the psychology of the person whose mind they've gone into. Like, their fears are all material things. You have to fight those enemies. I think I've seen that done similarly in other places. But yeah, you could have areas of the dream realm. The Blorks, they're born fully formed, but they have a gestation period that because in real life dreams get processed at like 20 times normal speed. So like if you run a mouse through a maze with electrodes attached to its brain, it'll play a pattern, right? Like as it goes through the maze, it'll go do 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 do. But then when you put the mouse to sleep, it basically runs the same memories. You hear the same patterns at like 20 times speed. So it starts going dring, dring, dring. So in Connell, you have a race like the Blorks, and their gestation period is like a day, and they come out as adults. But during that day, they're spending like months in the dream realm, actually like fighting and training. So like their training camp is in the dream realm. And they come out with like full personalities and relationships. Like they're born as friends. They know each other as friends when they come out.
Nice.
But yeah, there's
Freaky.
there's that level of multiversity. Then there's isekai adjacent elements. So you could do isekai stuff, and that's kind of multiversy. But the more interesting thing is, if you guys have seen Hollow Fist, the game I'm working on, there are characters in Hollow Fist like that look very similar to the characters in Connell, in the same way that like the guy who does Dragon Ball, a lot of his characters look similar. They have like a look. Like he did Dragon Quest as well, right? And they kind of have similarities in designs. Isekai adjacent TM. I think Alex might have said isekai adjacent to me. I'm using it. But yeah, there are similarities in the looks of the characters, like Mindy, Max, and the Professor. At least they have like analogs in Connell, and I don't know if that it's almost like a spiritual link between them. They might never ever touch, but they exist in completely separate universes, but they're kind of like echoes of each other. And I think it's kind of cool if it's a really meta way of doing a multiverse thing, where if you make a bunch of different IPs, but then characters show up in them that look kind of similar, as if they're like echoes of each other across the multiverse, but they never touch. That could be a cool nod to it. But yeah, those are my ideas. Those are the things I like playing with. I want to get crazy with it. If you ever try and do anything like that, I think it's better to do something crazy, like an entire planet of WizKids versus an entire other planet.
Like the What If Elseworld stuff was.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Like
I want to see how that would go. Like, would they ever even get to each other?
Yeah, the first thing they'd have to solve, because it'd be like one guy being like, you know what? I think I do want to be the leader. They'd be like, fuck, we got so far. We were about to make a move. We have to start over from scratch. Should we kill this guy? And be like, what do we do?
I actually have a character that shows up in both the Lost Pages and Magic Cop. And only a couple of people have actually called it out. And I'm never probably ever gonna cross them over. Like Magic Cop will never meet one of the Lost Pages characters, but I had an idea for a story of how that character actually got into the Magic Cop universe that might be explored one day. But yeah, there is a prominent character in the second Magic Cop book. But that's probably the extent I'll do with that.
Just having another character could just be there. But like, okay, there was a time, when they took Apu out of The Simpsons, I was like, I just want to put Apu in something I make.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just
that's where he was isekai'd into your
and it's
your
never called attention
Drake
to.
Bristol
And
book.
it's called up.
That'd be awesome.
Just write to Matt Groening, like, hey, if you're too pussy to use this character, give it to me. I just remembered the crossover between Fiendish and Goblin Girl is technically going to be a multiverse thing, but we're using a dream. Yeah. Dan's been sick, obviously, so that's delayed, but we have it all mapped out. It'll still happen. And it's a dreamscape where our characters meet from different worlds because we realize Fiendish and Goblin Girl kind of go together really well. So we're going to drop little things in each other's universes through like things manifesting in dreams because magic. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
I can't divulge more.
I think one of the fun ways people have used multiverse is technically just crossovers. But again, you can use more interesting ways of doing it, like the Dream Realm. Okay, Simpsons and Futurama, they did a crossover in the comics. It's the Simpsons Futurama crossover Crisis. It was really fun to read as a kid. Crisis. And the way they do it is because the Simpsons exists in Futurama. Like Futurama takes place in a world where the Simpsons is real. It was a show.
Right.
The brains that there was an episode of the show where the brains put people into books. That was a great episode with Nibbler. Yeah. They went to a planet that had a bunch of Simpsons comics dumped in them, and the brains put them in the Simpsons comics, and they had to escape the comics. That's fun. But then when they did that, all of the Simpsons characters came out of the comics into the Futurama world. So not technically multiverse, it's just fiction and ripping people out of the fictional realm. Right, yeah. To make it a multiverse thing is like if 16 issues later they reference that was an actual thing, or Homer is still living in the Futurama world, in the Homer future. Just left Simpsons comics. Right.
It's like canon and they have to dig themselves out of the
right.
That reminds me, that's like a sort of a subgenre, but there's Last Action Hero, and then there's a Woody Allen movie called The Purple Rose of Cairo that is like going into the movies where the watcher walks through the movie.
Yeah, isn't that is it sad?
I forget. I actually don't know that. I think that one's a love story. I've never seen it.
Yeah. But I know Last Action Hero
is fun. It's aged well too.
Pretty odd. That's the one Arnold comes out of the movie, right?
Yeah. And there are two versions of him. There's real Arnold, and then there's Action Arnold from the movie. Funny. And Arnold is like kind of an asshole and kind of a pussy. Action Arnold is like super awesome. So he's good at poking fun at himself.
So something that a film that deals with dreams in a similar way, specifically daydreaming, is a film called Sidekicks. You ever see Sidekicks, Pear?
Is that the wine? It's like, no, I haven't seen it. No. Is that the one with Chuck Norris? Yes. Okay.
Why'd you say wine?
Sideways is a wine country movie.
No, Sidekicks with Chuck Norris. So you've seen it.
I'm just familiar with the DVD or the VHS box cover.
Yeah, they're kicking to the side, right?
I'm not going to ask why you are, but it's about a high school kid played by the kid who played the stuttering kid in the original It miniseries. He hung himself. He's dead.
Hey, wait, in It or in real life?
In real life. Oh. Rip. He is this dweeby kid who has asthma and is always being bullied, and he's daydreaming during class. And when you see his daydreams, it's him working out with Chuck Norris, and in a Chuck Norris film, they're in Nam taking out a camp of Charlie and stuff and saving his high school crush all the time. And then it's really good. So that aspect of him daydreaming, and then he actually meets Chuck Norris in the movie, and he joins a martial arts competition and is on a team with Chuck Norris at the end. It's a really cool movie. It's pretty funny too. Joe Piscopo is the villain, and he's jacked out of his mind for some reason. It's hilarious.
Nice.
People know it.
Now I just want to see stuff where it's a whole new story, but the characters from one thing are put in a completely different thing. Like they're
AI is going to be able to do that for you eventually, maybe.
Dreamscape. I haven't seen that since I was a kid. Dreamscape's people going into other people's dreams. That's pretty wild. All right, let's get back to this thing. What's it called? Presentation. All right, we did this one. I think it's the one where I used the slash after the comma. All right. Now, I thought this title was great, Jake. Making a mess into mess-sketty.
Yeah. Or you could or Messamade. Take it.
No.
Mesomanos.
Because it's spaghetti is a delicious Italian dish.
Okay. But making mess into Messamade is
No.
itself.
No. Mess-sketty is going to catch on. I believe it.
Yeah, Moschetti. It's another plate of Moschetti.
Mess-sketty. So
the Italian listening is offended.
Is Moschetti empty the mop onto someone's plate?
Yeah, it's from the Mesozoic era, as Iron Line said. And so this is, the big two. They make a mess with all this multiverse stuff, but I'm not saying it is all hope is lost with it, because I think good writing and storytelling can come and take this mess and transform it into something fun and heartfelt. And if you have the right person in charge of a multiverse story, such as the Spider-Verse films, I enjoyed those. It's taking that concept that was, stripped apart by creators and having an infinite version of this character and making an actual cool story out of it. I think it could be done. I think it has been done as well. It leads to lots of fan service, dream moments of people that have been wanting to see for years. It's the same thing with the new Deadpool film. We saw a bunch of comic moments that everyone thought you wouldn't even think that they would be put into a film. Even stuff that was just comic book covers, references to comic book artists, with all the breaking of the fourth wall. And those were cool moments that people are going to remember. And you could make for impactful stories. I would say the Spider-Verse films have more heart to them than Deadpool Wolverine did, but it was all fun in my opinion, and could be turned into, as Jake would say, mess-sketty.
Yeah, I would say it. I think I would.
It was Jake's idea. I am looking forward to seeing Deadpool Wolverine, and I haven't even seen the Spider-Man movies because I don't have that reference frame. Because what I would be worried about is something still being entertaining to someone who doesn't have that catalog of knowledge, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. And yeah, that's another thing with like this whole multiverse thing, because there's so many decades of information. If you have a super fan that knows all this stuff and you do a multiverse story, they could be like, oh, what about this thing? This doesn't make sense because this thing from the 80s happened, and now you're just retconning it away with a wipe of your hand because of the multiverse. Or in Irene's case, you have no kind of backlog of knowledge for these characters, and what stuff like that might go over your head. But I think there's still ways you could do it that will be entertaining for you. I think you'd probably dig the Spider-Verse stuff, because that is a full story. It introduces Miles Morales and all that, Peter Parker as well. I would say maybe watch the first two Deadpool films if you haven't seen them. I don't know. Have you?
I saw the first Deadpool one. That was great. Hilarious.
Yeah.
You watch the second one before you watch the third one.
Yeah, there's some returning characters.
Cool.
Well, I mean, with that concept of like, oh, this thing happened that you didn't mention. The point of the multiverse is the only important thing is which ones are linked together, creating interactions, right? Like the obscure event that happened like in one issue a million years ago, that probably does exist somewhere in one of the universes, right? If all of the universes are infinite, it probably still exists, but the only way it becomes important is like the linkages as soon as they start interacting.
Yeah, Spider-Verse actually has a cool way because it's multiverse centric story. And I think that's why it works as well. Like there's actual reasons for things being crossed over. There's like mechanical devices to make them that happen. It's not just like a earth-shattering event. Like people are aware of the multiverse in there, and it teaches the audience pretty well.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know my theory of how multiverses would work in real life? Because it's not standard. It's not what you people usually. So
You
do you wanna-
people?
No, do you want to know my theory on how multiverses work in real life?
Yes.
Okay, so
Real
from my
life.
point of view, what makes a universe is it contains energy which can't interact with anything outside of it, right? If you have two universes, the only thing that makes them universes is nothing can actually interact. Like there's no quantum linking between any of the particles. Like they're completely separate. They can never ever interact. So basically, it's impossible to ever travel from one to the other. But you could say that if the universe is infinite and fractal, all of the things that you would usually put into a multiverse story does already exist in one universe currently, just super far away, and it's all technically quantum linked to each other because it was all energy existing at the Big Bang. So you could hypothetically create something that can pull in or take you to different teleport you to different areas of the universe where those possibilities exist through like quantum mechanics.
So
All you said was quantum linking. Come on.
So if you could had the ability to change your energy particles,
If you listen
to a
to
different
enough
frequency,
like low megahertz fucking YouTube videos with your eyes closed, you could teleport to the other end of the fucking universe and
So
be
is that like everything in every other universe is all happening in our space? It's just invisible and intangible and inconceivable?
No. It's not folded in on itself. If the universe is physically fractal, it means it means every physical possibility physically exists somewhere in the infinitum. Do you know what I mean? So like there's within this universe, there's like quintillion other Earths, right?
Yeah.
That just all exist in different fractal spaces in the universe as a whole, and like all of the different possibilities could play out across all of those fractal versions within the same universe. If the universe is infinite.
I would prefer to. What if it's not
No.
if I prefer to think?
Yeah.
What if possibilities? Does this even make sense? What if these alternate universes? You know the idea of, well, any choice could lead to a different outcome in a different universe, right? That just sounds insane. So basically, reality doesn't matter anymore because there are infinite versions of reality from the beginning of the Big Bang. What if these alternate realities only exist for an instant, and that's what Glitch in a Matrix stories are from? But then those universes fizzle out because we are the one continuum. Does that make sense?
Like is that where like the Mangala effect comes from?
The Mandela
Yeah.
effect, yes. The Mangala effect. Mandela. Right, stuff like that. Which some of that is just people psychologically tend to remember things wrong, and this can happen on a mass scale, but some of that stuff is weird. Especially the cornucopia shit. How the fuck was that not there for the loom? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility. I don't know.
What?
There's
Fruit
like
of the
another.
Loom definitely had a cornucopia. They're saying it doesn't.
It didn't. It didn't.
Goddamn.
What had a cornucopia though?
Logos can change over time.
It didn't change. I never had a
We
cornucopia.
can't go back and find the old ones with the cornucopia though. I gotta find those old whitey tidies.
Yeah, I don't know. Pear, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of what Rini was saying. And this is canon in the Earthbound universe, is that because multiverses, they're a little bit, they don't work super well with free will, because the idea, like, if you give someone a choice,
Yeah.
and then they're like, well, there's just two. You chose both, and there's two. There's almost like no choice. And the R types in Earthbound steal people's free will. So the idea being that there's only one universe, and that's where people are kind of acting in character, and that's what allows the free will to get hijacked.
That's cool.
Oh, and that sort of ties in with what's it called? Simulation theory. There's like some evidence of like saving memory in our reality, like quantum mechanics, like Schrodinger's cat. Like they won't manifest the cat until you open the box to look at it. It won't even
Right.
waste the memory. So the fact they're trying to save memory makes me think there's not a multiverse, because they wouldn't have enough memory. They got one universe, and there's barely enough memory to run that. And that's why maybe we're getting some of this Fruit of the Loom crap too. It kind of fits with that.
That's that's the reason why I don't open boxes. Is I don't want there to be a cat in it.
Yeah.
So I just leave
Good
them closed.
idea. Just never open any boxes.
I don't like cats.
So
I know what to gift fill.
are like telescopes, like the Hubble telescope and the, what is it called, the Large Hadron Collider, is that like a tandem attempt to overload the simulation by looking at like the really big infinite and the really small infinite both at the same time, like really close?
That's funny. Yeah, like it's like, according to like this theory, it's like the moon, the data it takes for the moon is actually just a white dot in the sky. But if we ever actually went to it, the data would be to create a whole new planet, and that could overload the system. So that's why we never go to the moon. I don't know.
All men's attempts at exploration are just simply the drive to overload the matrix.
Yeah.
Yo,
We
Rob's
must
here.
break out. What's up, Rob?
Says multiverses are almost as worse than time travel. That's what Rob.
They're very similar. I didn't realize that. That's come up from this discussion. I'm like, they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
What?
And there's these, and the other thing I'm taking away is that there's these examples that are fun, like just crossovers or whatever, any like dreamscapes, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I just thought of a multiverse idea that was planned from the beginning. I don't know if I should say it was done well, because I read it when I was a kid, and when you're a kid, you think everything is awesome. But, so, of course, this is manga. If you guys know Clamp's work, they're this team of 4 women who made Cardcaptor Sakura, XX Holic, Tsubasa, a bunch of really famous manga. And, so I was really into Tsubasa for a while, was never that into Sakura, but their work all exists on kind of a multiverse, but they never clearly explain it. They don't give names to the different worlds, but their series all tied together as well. So Tsubasa in particular, the story of Tsubasa is this desert fantasy kingdom princess, and she's tied to some like feather thing. And anyways, her personality is manifest in feathers, and some magical accident happens. Her memories get scattered across the multiverse. So her lover boy has to take her across the multiverse to like recollect all her memories, so she could be a functional person, not a potato again. Anime really likes potatoing women. Anyways, but what's fun is the Clamp reuses the character designs. The princess in Tsubasa, the designs for the boy and the girl character are older versions of Sakura and Xiaorang from Cardcaptor Sakura. So they reuse designs all the time, and because they're in Tsubasa, they're universe jumping. You start jumping into different universes. There's a crossover with XX Holic. I think there's a crossover with Cardcaptor as well, and they have these like little bunny, like it's these weird creatures that they invented. It's like a ball but with like rabbit ears and a gem on their forehead. Anyways, they're
those are like what you see if you smoke DMT. You see the elves.
Yeah, those are the elves, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is, but maybe that's what you saw when you smoked DMT. But those show up in like those are these little magical bunny creatures that show up in multiple universes that they create. So, anyways, they have a huge body of work, and among their body of work are characters that universe jump, and they kind of loosely tie it together. But it's more like Easter eggs for the readers that have read all their stuff. It's not necessary to like read all of it. Like they're not ever trying to like they're not trying to sell you XXX Holic when you're reading Tsubasa. It's not like that, which sometimes I feel like multiverse stuff comes across that way. But yeah, Chobits, yeah, someone said Chobits in chat. I just forgot Chobits was really good. The only shoujo mangakas I like. I don't like shoujo, but Clamp is really good. Yeah, that was a
There you go.
multiverse.
They do it in manga, people. Who would have thought? I actually did it in that graveyard shift story I wrote. It's basically all about universe hopping. The Brahm jumps through different universes, and in this one, he goes to one where instead of his son being killed, he was killed. So his son finds him, and they have he's hunting this monster, and then he has to deal with his son being there as well. And then there's a big double page spread, which I had the original art on my wall. It's freaking awesome. Tommy Patterson drew it, of him and the main villain falling through different dimensions, and you see a bunch of different characters like Cyberfrog and Johnny Phantasm, Silhouette, and the Black Flag characters. So we did that on a spread, and that I think that what worked because the main narrative and plot revolved around going through different universes. So I think that's like the main difference between the mainstream doing it to build up like hype for their new event, and then actually utilizing it in a story that can mean something. That's integral to the story.
You can either use it as a creative tool or a marketing tool.
Oh yeah, it's a great way to put it as well. We got J-Bot in the chat. What's up, J-Bot? Good to see you. Old Dirty Fatty is here. You guys are just tuning in. We're talking. Nefarious is here. Good to see you. We're talking about multiverses in storytelling. And the next slide I'm going to get shit for because I totally forgot this. The whole background is just Lock and Key, which I've never read. And Irene says it's not a multiverse story.
So why did you put it as
because Google AI told me it was a multiverse story. All right.
This is why you shouldn't trust AI, and AI lies.
Yeah, it's my friend. Okay.
Bill put Lock and Key in as a central element in the hope that it would make up for all the bonks, and you completely ruined his entire.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be a part of this, Irene. And I know you've read Lock and Key. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I brought up my own example that you didn't even know about, so it's fine. I still got to participate. I get the participation trophy. Good. Yeah, I don't think Lock and Key counts. It's not really. There are different dimensions, not different universes. Unless I'm misremembering.
What people refer to different universes as different dimensions. Literally, they say they're dimension hopping.
Right. That's why I specifically said universe hopping, because dimensions are very different than.
Yeah, world, like, is it a different version of base reality? That's the difference.
Well, here's the thing. It depends what you mean by dimension. Because if you just have the 11-dimension string theory, that means every multiverse, every universe is within the 11 dimensions of physical space. Like a dimension in string theory isn't like the way it's used in fiction. It literally means a bucket in a bucket in a bucket, and there's like 11 fucking buckets with all the possibilities in it.
Yeah, that's a little different, and also. It's also different if you mean dimensions like, third dimension, fourth dimension, whatever. And then there's stuff like the dreamscape stuff. That's also like a lot of like in the world of Phoenix, you have an astral world, umbral world. You have different elemental planes. You have dream worlds are like temporary pocket universes, and they overlap, but it's not different versions of reality. They just they're like overlapping energies. So I wouldn't say that's a multiverse.
Has anybody in the chat? We got like 50 people watching. Has anybody read Lock and Key?
I read
I
like
know,
the first trade, and I did really like it, but for some reason I never read the second, and I never will.
You never will. Damn.
Yeah. But I did like
It's
it. It was
good.
good.
I need
Yeah,
to
I heard
reread
it's
it.
good.
My memory of it is blurred. I keep on looking at the art. I have the whole series, but it's been a long time.
We have another super chat from Angela. Thank you for the $2. Google AI is the new "the dog ate my homework." Yeah, Google
You know
AI
why?
told me about it.
You know why I think I quit reading Lock and Key? Well, because I didn't have the second one, but I think it's because I was jealous of Stephen King's son. I was like, stupid Stephen King's son writes his own stupid
It's so
comic.
annoying. Like, he's actually a good writer, and it's so annoying because it's like he doesn't even have to use his dad's name, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
Bancroft
right.
watched the lesbian remake.
Is that a
What,
short
the
film?
TV show
Oh
that
yeah, it got
apparently
turned
sucked?
into like a
Yeah, it was the show.
Oh, that's lame. That's lame. Who did they make lesbians? There's no need to, like, this is why it's so dumb if they did, I don't know what they did with the adaptation, but if they wokeified it, that's really stupid because Lock and Key in itself is progressive, but not in an annoying way. It has some elements that are just like there, but the story always comes first. Like, there's absolutely no need to add any agenda. It's a good story.
Yeah, dude, it must be. It had like a shit ton of violent volumes. It's a long running series.
It's 6 trades.
And Joe Hill has his own, like, I don't know if he still has it, but he had an imprint in DC a couple years ago still. Yes, KSSS. We do owe one ball. All right. When multiverse is built in, ignore Lock and Key. It said multiverse works when it starts out as a main plot point of the story of the universe. Like Narnia, what did you call Narnia? It's a parallel universe story. Alice in Wonderland, even though that's like what we talked about, a dream sequence, or is it a dream world?
Yeah.
Would you call Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, Narnia, stories like that are essentially isekai stories. That's the original isekai, right? So, would you call isekai stories multiverses? Because there's 2 worlds.
Now, I'm not.
Universe.
Is the death of the character integral to the isekai?
Their soul kind of moves to a different. I think their soul moves to a different universe.
And they can come back to the where
Not
they started.
always. Most of the time, it's a character gets hit by a truck. That's a trope. But Sword Art Online, I don't think they're dead. There are isekai where they're just like stuck in a game, but their physical bodies are alive.
But that alternate world they go to could just be a hardcore DMT death dream.
Right.
They're in their moments of death. The brain has been saturated in DMT, and it's like in the 20 times speed as they're flying through the air, being hit by the truck. They're playing out like 700 years of an isekai fantasy based on all the fucking games they've played.
But Alice never dies, and Dorothy never dies. That little kid who loved what are those Turkish delights? He never died, right? You know what I'm talking about, Turkish delights, Jake?
I do, but I don't know who you're referring to. Who likes
the
delights?
little kid from Chronicles of Narnia, like Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. The little
Turkish
brother. The queen was like feeding them Turkish delights and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why
I always wonder if they're like super dense calorie. I never look at the calories. I always wonder if they're really bad or if they're fine because they're like a fucking chunk of gloop, but it tastes great.
You know,
right? And not just one person goes through the wardrobe, right? It's the whole brothers and sisters. It's I think it's like 3 of them. So it's not like a singular experience that only one character has.
Another thing these have in common is they have a lot of these have like a hub world. Like the Dark Tower is the hub world, and that kind of fits with what Jake was saying with his next big thing presentation, but it's like a little different. But you can have like a center hub that lets
You
you
have the
enter
home,
other
and then
universes.
you go on the adventure, which is crushing the threshold into a different world, and then you come back to the home.
And then you can always come back in those cases.
Yeah.
So that would be an
There
example where it works really well. The hub world works great, for sure.
There,
Power
yeah,
Rangers.
I think, what is it? Was Dot Hack the same way? I only read a tiny bit of Dot Hack. I might be misremembering the series, but there are isekai in manga where it's multiple characters, kind of this whole Matrix idea of people will plug themselves into video games in the future and then they get stuck in the video game, so it's a mass thing, or it's multiple characters having this problem but their physical bodies are still alive, and it's multiple people being stuck in this fantasy world. So it's all just different excuses for being transported into a fantasy realm to explore a different, reality.
I always thought the one in Hunter x Hunter was really good because they go to like a video game world with video game magic rules, and they're like as if it's a different universe or a different space. Then you eventually learn that it's just some island somewhere in their normal world. Like they just built a video game island and they just teleport to it.
That's
I thought
funny.
that was really
That's
funny.
Cool. The isekai thing is interesting because specifically in the Dark Tower, there is a bunch of different worlds, and you start off following Roland, and he meets a kid, Jake, who's a prominent character in the series. And Jake is from, for lack of a better specific term, he's from our world. He's from, I want to say the 80s. Is Jake from? Whoever read it. Our world in the 80s. Roland is not from our world. He's in this like desert wasteland with much different culture. But he meets Jake in his world, and you actually find out that Jake died and was isekai'd into Roland's world. Like he gets hit by a car and wakes up in Roland's world and in the Gunslinger. And then at the end of that book, Jake dies in Roland's world. Like Roland lets Jake fall off a cliff instead of saving him, so he could go after the main bad guy who he's vowed to catch and go to the Dark Tower. And then Jake comes back, a different version of Jake from a different universe. Roland saves and brings him back into the world after he already died once. And then spoilers, he eventually dies again. But you have that. The Dark Tower is a crazy awesome example of multiverse. Primarily the reason why I wanted to talk about the topic.
Wonder, if Stephen King, it's like he was kind of doing it when it was cool, but then it got uncool because everyone did it. He probably was pretty stoked.
Sure.
I got this idea. It's going to be like he dies, but I'm going to be able to resurrect him later, and people aren't going to be able to call bullshit because it's going to be this crazy thing.
Yeah, he pulls it off really well, especially with Jake. And when Jake does crossover back into Roland's world the second time, he has like memories of old dead Jake, and he realizes that Roland let him fall off the cliff, and that was a really cool character moment where he's like, can I trust him? Is he gonna let me die again? And like that relationship was really cool. But the way he did it in Gunslinger, which he wrote in like 1975, like that multiverse stuff, when you just start reading the book, you think it's a Western, and the way he expands upon it throughout the series is super ahead of its time. Really good stuff.
Noise.
But yeah, Jake, when we were talking in DMs earlier about this, you had mentioned The Witcher.
Yeah, like maybe Irene knows more about this than I do, but I think because The Witcher is like a fantasy world where you have humans running around. Apparently, early on in their world, it's literally our universe collided with a universe that had all of the fantasy creatures in it, and so those two universes combined to made the Witcher's world. Like there was a magic event that combined them. Like, do you know about that?
Yeah. The worlds collide together and stuff, and they're like I only really like The Witcher 3 video game. But so I haven't read the books. But yeah, that's basically the idea. Is all these magical creatures. There are different worlds, but it's not a different versions of the characters kind of thing. It's these creatures, like the elves have their home world and humans have their home world, and then everything like mashed together. There was like this conjunction of the spheres event, and that was like years and years ago, and that created the world of The Witcher as we know it.
Yeah, like you could use these principles for like just setting up the basis of your universe, especially if you're doing fantasy, or like even imagine if you had a cyberpunk Techtopia style thing where they use their super advanced tech to merge to open up a different universe, and like it ends, instead of opening a portal, it like keeps opening and eventually like opens around the world and both merge, and it's monsters and stuff, but in a hyper tech world, right? And those things combine.
That kind of reminds me of like Doom, because isn't Doom like about opening portals to hell?
Yeah. But you could do that with all sorts of stuff. Like you could have magical talking giant eagles, and it's my cyberpunk world, and they opened the portal to super giant magical talking eagle world. And like,
what if it's like a cyberpunk world, but you open a portal to a steampunk world?
Steampunk world,
and then you create a steampunk world, and then there's warring gangs and all that stuff, so on.
You mentioning that just reminded me that FMA did a multiverse thing, and it annoyed me so much.
What's FMA? Oh, Full Metal Alchemist?
Yes. Yeah. Hello, I'm the anime person.
I can't keep track of these anagrams.
Yes.
The hardcovers of that series are really nice. FMA.
What did they do in that instance, Irene?
So, Full Metal Alchemist is diesel punk, I would say. It's not really steampunk, but you mentioned steampunk, so it made me think of that.
So it's a steampunk world that merges with a cyberpunk world that then gets merged again with a diesel punk world.
We could
Anyways, yes, we could do it. Yeah, you guys did have that dream project.
Is there wood punk?
That's just called fantasy. That's called Pathfinder.
Bark
Anyways, Full Metal Alchemist is set in, I don't know why I'm here. It's kind of like World War II era technology. That's like diesel punk, World War I or II. Last Exile is also like that. I really like anime that has like diesel punk settings. Anyways, so it was hinted that it's all Full Metal Alchemist is an alternate universe version of World War II. A lot of the story elements is kind of like a fantasy version of Germany, but it's not one-on-one. Like it's not like, but the ruler of the country is called Führer, right? But the shape of the country is different, all this other stuff. So obviously there are parallels. But in the Conquer Shambhala movie, they had Edward and Al cross over into our world, and they pulled this whole thing where the energy for alchemy in their world is being drawn from all the war deaths in our real world. So they made our real world a thing in this fantasy manga that was its own universe, and it wasn't in the manga at all. It was just this movie, and I hated that. I didn't like that at all. I felt like it broke my immersion. I didn't need to see like a canon crossover into our world at all.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's weird how they did that.
I have a new design for multiverse stuff that I was going to use, but I scrapped it because I thought it was shit. Would you want to hear it? This was what was originally. This was originally part of Connell's world, right? You know the concept of Hyperborea, where you go through the hole in the Antarctic and there's a whole other world?
Okay. I didn't know there was a word for it.
Hollow Earth theory. You know Hollow Earth theory?
Yes. Just, yeah.
Irene looks really distressed.
That's where the dinosaurs are. That's where the dinosaurs and Nazis are, right?
Hyperborea
I
is
need a
like
drink.
Conan World. But I had this kind of like thinking. There's also another theory that planets actually, the mass material around certain resonance points away from a central star, and that like at the core of them, matter can be like transported between planets. So like planets can like change mass. So when people are like, dinosaurs would have been too heavy, they'd break their own bones, or like all of the continents connect from the other side. There's like a crazy theory where it's like Earth slowly got bigger over time because of material teleporting from the center of the sun to the planets and growing them on certain resonance points. But so here's the multiverse design. You merge that with Hyperborea, and basically when you go to the center of the Earth, it like you uncoil into a different space where that world becomes the outside of the planet, and the world you were just in becomes the inside of that planet. So both worlds are actually the outside of the hollow Earth, and if you go into the middle of it, you become the other planet, right? But
Right.
space still exists in those universes, right? So you go to Hyperborea, and then you make a spaceship and you go to Mars, and then you go into Mars Hyperborea, and you basically can jump through all these universes by leapfrogging through every
Planets.
Hyperborea.
Every planet is a universe.
No, every planet has a gateway to its own inverted realm through the center of it.
Wait. So let me get this straight. I have a
Turn to
physical
spaghetti.
demonstration of
Okay.
this hollow Earth theory that Jake is proposing.
So this is Earth.
Are you proposing that
That's Earth.
hollow Earth?
Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Earth. And when you go to Hyperborea, the new
This is
world
your
becomes the
mind-blowing
outside.
theory of how hollow Earth actually works.
Now take a rocket from Pumpkin Land and fly to Pumpkin Mars, and then go to that Hyperborea, and you'll end up in like Strawberry Mars.
But it's a different universe than the one inside of Earth.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Mind blown. Isn't this cute? This is super cute. Yes. It is.
Yeah, you perfectly summed it up.
Yeah, I think Jules Verne had that idea about 100 years ago.
Who knows about that guy? Did Jules Verne actually do that? Did he do it?
No.
But yeah, there was going to be like a Hyperborea world that you could go to, but that world was like super advanced tech. And I thought that was really lame and gay, so I didn't do it.
We're almost done with this slide thing, guys. But we're getting so this is my slide dedicated to the Dark Tower. This is the only reason I really did this stream. All right, because I recently finished the book series. I finished the last book. But before we do that, Kirby Curdy had a question. Phil, can you have the panel name our universe? I personally call this universe the gay one.
This is the gay one. No, this is gay 69420 no scope.
No scope?
Yeah, this is the no scope universe.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's a good name.
No, this universe should be called Jeff.
Jeff? Right.
This universe is a CERN made a mistake universe.
Jeff with a J or G?
Definitely J.
All right, that's good.
G is a cop-out, Jeff.
All right, Dark Tower, guys.
G, then.
This is my favorite multiverse story, and the multiverse is an essential part of the story. It's a series of books. I think there's 8 books of the main story, and there's like 2 side books that he did later or whatever. It takes place from like 1975. Like I said, the first one, Gunslinger, was written, and then like 2009 or 2004, 2009, the last one. So huge time span. Stephen King wrote it. He had various different things happen within that time span. In fact, he got hit by a car in whatever decade, and like Narwhal, or like Pear said earlier, he actually puts himself in the book. He breaks the fourth wall. The main characters come to our universe, meet Stephen King. You witness the scene of him getting, because he's obsessed with him getting hit by a car. You witness the scene of him getting hit by the car. So spoilers with that. But this is not only a multiversal story within this book. It spans across his other IPs. So there's references to it. And look at this is the map of someone put together of all of the references and characters that cross over in all of his series, including the Dark Tower. So if you guys read Salem's Lot, there's the Dark Tower series is insane. Like he fights vampires. There's Father Callahan, who's a main character in Salem's Lot, becomes a main character in the Dark Tower series. There's references to Dead Zone, Carrie, Maturin, the floating turtle, who's referenced in It, is basically a god in Gilead, which is where Roland's from. And the culture around Roland and Gilead is super cool. The world building is very natural and is not like info dumped and forced, especially during the first 4 books. Top-notch stuff. Loved it. And I even dug the ending. Is there anyone in the chat? People who said that Cranberry Langers has read it. Did you read the last book, Cranberry Langers? Let me know. But as I said, developed as a multiverse story, even crossovers into other IPs that he has created. Like Randall Flagg, who's the big bad guy in The Stand, is also the Crimson King. And he's like this crazy sorcerer that's also the Man in Black. And he dies in the book. He has like an avatar who's the Man in Black who dies in the book. It's freaking cool. References connecting to over 9 other books of his, probably more. It could be enjoyed as well. Like you were talking about this, Irene, with Deadpool, or specifically the Spider-Verse films, where you don't have like the reference knowledge of things that they would be referring to. I haven't read any other Stephen King books ever, except for maybe like an American Vampire Story wrote, which is a comic. I've seen some films and stuff, but I didn't have to get all the references that were in there and still enjoyed the series. So you don't need to know that these other IPs are being referenced. In fact, it probably intrigues you more after you learn that there are other references and stuff.
Sweet.
Cranberry says, I read it. I read some of the comics. Yeah, Jay Lee did some awesome comics for this series, which I haven't read all of them. That's actually a pretty long series.
It just seems like a thing that you get to do once you made a load of shit. Like all of the other things wouldn't have had multiverses put in them from the start, right? You just one day you're like, what if I had some multiverse fun with my own stuff, but made a new thing that referenced them all, and it didn't actually affect any of the previous work?
Yeah, well, this is the fact.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Irene.
No, I was just gonna say that's kind of what Clamp's thing felt like, where they just made a bunch of series, but when they made Tsubasa, it was built into Tsubasa that you can universe jump, so they just reference all their older work. So it worked in the way they planned that out.
Yeah, it's like if you were to do some crossover stuff between like Friends books, you would kind of make just its own thing that has that one crossover adventure, but it wouldn't have an implication in the actual series it was referencing. Like it would be this one bubble thing that comes into existence, then goes away, and it wouldn't actually. I think that's kind of fun because you can do whatever with it without people having to worry about what you do, or worrying too much about how it changes things. You can just have fun.
It's the interesting thing the fascinating thing I think is the like release date span, because the Gunslinger came out in 1982. That's when the story was collected, because it was originally published in like a sci-fi magazine, serialized, so in the 70s. So you have 1982, 1987, 1991, 97, 1998, and then 2003 and 2004 was the last two. So during this whole time, he was writing books that he then referenced in later Dark Tower books. So it's not like he wrote a bunch of stuff and then referenced all that stuff from the past. Like he was in tandem writing things that he was referencing, which is really interesting too. Let me see. Some people were saying stuff in the chat here. Oh, KSSS read a bunch of King stuff, but not Dark Tower. I kind of want to spoil the ending though, because it's really interesting. KSSS, I think you should read it, because this does have an ending, and I think that's another way to kind of make sure that your multiverse story is impactful. And
good point.
Having an ending, because if you do it like DC or Marvel, they can't end, because they're a big company with corporate shareholders, and they're not going to end their universes, right? So there's more stakes to having an ending to your series, and end of, maybe potential of the multiverse, or just end of the story where you're not going to do anything more with it. So they're going to keep re-envisioning, the Black Cat Spider-Man amalgam, because that's another universe that's out there, and it just, like I said, just becomes messy and convoluted. But this had an ending, kind of. So I really think it was awesome. And after I read the ending as well, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. And there's people that have very different polarizing opinions of it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I'll do a poll in the chat if people want me to spoil the ending. Here we go.
Well, I mean, you could tell people, I'm going to turn my camera off and spoil the ending, and you can put your fingers in your ears. Then when I turn my camera back on, I'm not spoiling it anymore.
Yeah, I could do that. Polls in the chat. But yeah, in this story, they go through a bunch of different universes, and the main plot is the Dark Tower is at the epicenter of all universes, and Roland's main quest is to get to the Dark Tower, and at one point it's to keep it from being destroyed, and then that happens, but then he has that goal of he still wants to get to it, and there's a 7 books of backstory and characterization that really shows you his motives of why he has to get to the Dark Tower in his mind. And it's a pretty cool character study. And I haven't really found any interviews with Stephen King on the series, and I would love to hear his take on it, because there's some ambiguous stuff. Some people are saying that the main character is, he's a hero. Others are like, he's not. He's like an asshole that is obsessed with the Dark Tower. And I'm sure that he wants to leave it up to the reader, but I would love to hear his thoughts on it. It'd be really interesting. Michael Rushbrook says,
just wait, in about a year or two, Stephen King is going to release the Dark Tower, and Roland will be a genius black girl.
Well,
oh no!
I hope he never touches the series again. He did some side books, but I don't think they came out after the last book. I could be wrong, but in fact, this Michael Rushbrook asks, Phil, did you like the Dark Tower movie? So they did do a Dark Tower movie. It was just one film. They did cast Roland as Idris Elba, which goes against the description of Roland. He's supposed to just look like Clint Eastwood, right?
There's a certain level of you're such a good actor, it doesn't matter.
Oh no, I totally agree. I love Idris Elba, and
me too.
I'm okay with this.
I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but it was not a Dark Tower movie. It was very, very stripped down because you can't fit 7 books into one film, and they wanted to do more, but there's talks of them making it into a long form streaming series. The director who did Doctor Sleep and Gerald's Game, which are a couple of Stephen King adaptations, which I like both of those. He has the rights directly from King to do a series, and I'd be interested in seeing that. I think that
if they
someone
can do
that
it
really
right.
loves it. Yeah, for sure.
At least King hasn't been like Neil Gaiman, where he actively just retcons his own work. As far as I know, am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't think he's done that. And the guy's a machine at pumping out stuff too. It's crazy.
KSS says Scott Eastwood should play Roland. Yeah, is he a pretty good actor?
Yeah, he started as a stunt guy, but I know he's done some Western films and stuff. Yeah, KSSS, he would be a good Roland and Gambit. And I mean, Roland's based on Clint Eastwood. Like, he's just definitely done that. And the cast is pretty, diverse. So I think a lot of people would dig the show. Like, one of the main characters, Susanna, she fits all boxes. She's African American chick from like the 1950s or 60s who has no legs. Like, her legs are her legs are gone, so she's in a wheelchair for most of the time. But the mind messery of this book is crazy. Like, she gets possessed by another, like a demon named Mia, and when Mia is possessing her body, she has legs and can walk around, and it's crazy. Yeah, I don't even know how they would do that character in any sort of visual medium, because
that sounds cool. I watched a long video on it. I don't know if I finished it, but it was cool. The channel's Mert KJ, I think, and she does like 3-hour analyses videos, and they're good for the background sometimes. But she was talking about it, and there's like, it has like a ton of psychology stuff that's like fun, of like people, where it gets kind of sci-fi, but it's kind of just interesting psychology, of like why people black things out and then what triggers them and their memories and how their behaviors change in certain situations and stuff. It all sounded really cool.
Yeah. I've watched some like videos like that on the ending of this. Cranberry Lane says she's actually a great character. Yeah, there's this awesome part where like you don't meet her until the second or third book, but in the first book, Roland has to like seduce this female demon spirit to get some information, or while Jake has to go grab something. So he like bangs this ghost demon, Roland does, to obtain some plot point. And then in the like third book, Susanna bangs this other demon, and it turns out it was the same demon that was holding on to Roland's seed. And then like switched to bang Susanna to then impregnate her with Roland's seed, that then becomes like this demon baby and is one of the villains.
Stephen King, you messed
up.
It's
insane. It's insane.
What? That's some anime shit.
He did a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
Gotta do more cocaine, guys. Heard it here first. Joke, YouTube, joke.
He did a lot.
No, you really should do more cocaine.
Yeah. Very serious.
In real life.
We've all been there, fellas.
Immediately.
It's wild. There's talking trains. It's freaking awesome. I hope they actually make it into a series. I think it would be really cool. Also, this is some badass Jay Lee art. That's the Crimson King with all the orbs, the wizard orbs that have different powers from. And the weird thing that I'm not like so on par with this series is he starts tapping into a lot of popular culture like he references. I don't even know how it's legal to do this. I don't know how literature works that way. Like he references the Wizard of Oz. Well, I mean, obviously that's in public domain, but he references Doctor Doom from Marvel Comics. He references the Golden Snitch from Harry Potter. He references Harry Potter in the book as a pop culture thing. A bunch of different movies. Like I don't know if he was just like, I mean, he's worked for Marvel before, so maybe they had a handshake agreement. He probably was a fan of J.K. Rowling before the last 10 years, and they had a cool agreement. I'm not sure, but that kind of stuff took me out of it a little bit. But so referencing pop culture, but that kind of really solidifies it in making you believe that it could be in our world, you know? So yeah. And then I'm going to end this poll. There's 21 votes. And people don't want me to spoil it. You people who voted that you don't want me to spoil it, you better read this book. All right.
What was the percentage? Hold on, let me have a look.
61 to 38.
I'm just gonna watch a big 2-hour spoiler video on it, and then
you can do that too. It'll probably
video.
Yeah, it'll probably be 8 hours. But read it, enjoy it, and then message me and let me know what you thought. Because I have no one besides my girlfriend to talk about this series with, and she read it years ago. So yeah, and that, you know, hammer home the point for multiverse stories. I think they should have endings. I think series and stories should have endings just all together because it's more impactful that way. And as creators, you get to move on to other you know, ventures with your creativity as well. And that's another reason I think, you know, I think this has been brought up a lot over the past years, is that's why manga is another reason why it is more popular than the American comic industry, because a lot of manga series do have endings. Unless you're One Piece or Vagabond.
Hopefully Vagabond will have an ending. I wonder if they'll ever
depression. He's just refusing to finish it.
Why?
But he says he doesn't feel it anymore. I know. Yes. Which I get it, but I'm also I'm not even mad. I'm just sad.
At least he's saying he's not going to finish it, unlike
certain other writers who are. I mean, I'm sure George is working on it, but it's extra annoying to. I have no closure. I need closure.
Well, there's no closure here because this is the last panel I made for this PowerPoint. So
okay, bye.
I was gonna have a wrap up panel, but I didn't really have time to make one.
So. Really couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, it ends with ending ? So
yeah, I got all my energy out here. So
it's better that it has an ending, unlike this presentation.
Yes. Or does it have an ending?
Dun, dun, dun.
Will we continue it?
We're not spoiling it, so nobody will know. Everyone go watch an 8-hour video on Dark Tower.
Yeah.
I'm already watching a 6-hour video from some madman on YouTube about Dune. Like,
oh my God.
Go watch Quinn's. Do you guys watch Quinn's Ideas? He talks about Dune and like Song of Ice and Fire and just.
I did watch a bunch of Quinn's Ideas about Dune, but that phase, it was so fun, but it went in one ear and out the other. That's when I was like, I am the Lisan al Gaib, or whatever the other term.
Modi Lisan al Gaib. Dune is interesting if you are confused about it because of how the movies are presented. Watch some YouTube stuff and you'll understand it more. I'm jumping between that. Go ahead.
The YouTube videos about Dune were more interesting than the actual movie that guy made called Dune.
Like, I think, I liked the movies, but they're not perfect, and I think the things they left out some crucial things.
They left out the really interesting stuff.
They did cut some things I think didn't need to be cut. We're not gonna get into this again. Anyways, there's
I don't think I would like
the books are
Dune.
more expansive.
Does that
Why?
make sense? Is that okay?
You'd like Dune if it had all the interesting stuff in it, Phil.
Right,
Depends
yeah,
on the
like
books or the movies, though.
if Dune, no, I'm talking about the books too.
Okay.
I don't think I would like it.
They're not for everybody. It's a lot of internal monologue, a lot of reading. Yeah. I did the audiobooks. I don't know if I could like sit down and read through all that shit. There's just like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I did the audiobooks for the Dark Tower, and
but once the story starts taking shape, like it starts really slow. Once it starts taking shape, Dune is really good.
Yeah, it was the opposite with the Dark Tower. Like the first 4 books I got through in like I don't know, like 3 months or whatever, and I was like, oh, super high on them. And then like the last few were kind of sluggish, and I think it ended well. Like the last book ended well, but there was some parts like him putting himself in the book was a little, I don't know, narcissistic. I think.
Who?
Stephen King putting himself in the books, like.
Oh yeah. That's always weird when authors do that. Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Don't do self inserts.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Yeah, and don't cosplay as yourself either, or cosplay as your character. Vaughn Coleman.
I would definitely do that as Carl at one point. That'd be fun.
You would cosplay as Carnal?
Yeah, I've already planned it in my head. I would make like a fabric muscle suit to wear over everything with like the muddy feet. But then I would make like a giant bobblehead, like a mascot style bobblehead.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. That would actually be pretty cool. That would be fun.
Like, you look for his mouth, so it looks like a full-on theme park mascot version. This would be really funny.
I would dig that.
I will not be cosplaying my characters. The end.
Look at this. One of these days, I'll read Lost Pages 3 and Fiendish 2.5. You're sick, Bancroft. Now's the perfect time to be laying in bed reading these books.
One of these days means right now. Yeah, right, Michael?
Do it while Mel is passing all your books.
25 pages.
Yeah.
It's gonna take you like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's only
it'll change your world. Okay, read mine first because it's shorter.
Yeah, you do that. All right, that's the end of the presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do you guys have any other additions? I know you were mentioning Rick and Morty. Some people in the chat were mentioning Rick and Morty. That is another example of like the whole series is built on the idea of infinite universes and multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, if they use it as basically just a super extreme crossing the threshold point on the typical story circle, so you can just go to maximum places. So you can have an episodic series that is basically endless, as long as you can like you have the biggest canvas possible.
Yeah. Did we talk about that was something for Smiling Friends? Is they run like a little private investigator business where they get hired to make people smile. So each new episode is like a new case or whatever.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because like they have like a mishmash universe instead of crossing over into different universes where there would be like different art styles or like different crazy characters. Just they all exist in the same universe at the same time. Like you literally have 3D polygonal video game characters that star in video games like a movie actor would, just walking around with 2D drawn characters. So that's like it's like their universe is the entire multiverse of creativity collapsed in on itself into one world.
It's kind of like that's how like
what?
companies like Disney could just pull all the massive amounts of IPs that they own and have their tentacles in and mash something together. Like Wreck-It Ralph was kind of like that, right?
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And bloody Space Jam 2, The Crappening.
Merlin says if you read Morrison and watch Rick and Morty, you'll see it. Nice. What is I know Morrison does a lot of crazy stuff like that. I love his Doom Patrol run where they go into people's heads and stuff like that. It's really cool. I know I haven't read his book The Invisibles, which was I think it was a Vertigo title he did. They said that a lot there's a lot of overlap between the Matrix and Morrison's Invisibles. Like they think that the brothers took from the Invisibles comic series.
That's
for
cool.
The Matrix.
My presentation will be in 2 weeks, but I'm gonna talk nonstop about After Hours by Martin Scorsese. So everyone watch that 20-minute YouTube video.
Okay. We have to watch it?
No.
This will be the new iteration.
Explaining it.
We just talk about one thing we really like and
Creative block for now will just be each of us nerding out about us. Okay, next week I will be nerding out about Ghost in the Shell. Nothing else.
Do an entire Futurama, how you use the future as just an exaggerated representation of the now, and how fantasy made-up worlds can just be ways of deconstructing current social stuff.
Jake will just do one episode each on The Simpsons and Futurama into infinity.
Speaking of those like million-hour-long episode YouTube videos, I found an 11+ hour video that was called A Brief Summary of The Simpsons Golden Era. And it was every single episode, right? The guy describes the plot, the literal plot, then describes the actual story that happens, like the character arc, and then like gives some personal point of view on it. But like for every single episode for like seasons 10+, like it goes from the first all the way past 10. You sit there and you basically get like a dense download of storytelling. You know what I mean? Because you get just the actual plot, but then you actually get the story, the psychological fucking wraparound, and like it's like a download of knowledge of how to write stories in one.
It's actually really good. Yeah, he said that to me. It's like 11 hours long. So I'm jumping between this 11-hour-long video and the 6-hour-long Dune video. And I'm like, I will learn about The Simpsons and like all the Dune books I didn't know about. Because I'm like, after a point, I gave up.
She actually knows Simpsons trivia now because she's watching this video.
Oh my god.
Wait, what's the video called? I might cue it up too.
I'll send you a link. The guy's channel, he's done loads of shows, not just that, like Simpsons, Futurama, Avatar, all these animated shows. He's done King of the Hill, and like it's all the plot breakdowns and story breakdowns of all of these animated shows. You would probably fucking love it, Pear.
Yeah.
The plot breakdown, he actually breaks everything down in a very concise way. So I'm like, maybe an hour in, and I just feel I need to take breaks because I feel like my brain is just mush because he's just describing the episodes, but he breaks every episode down into like 1 minute, and it's like an elevator pitch for a whole episode. It's very impressive.
But he describes them so perfectly succinctly that there is no spare junk. Like he does it all of like this, but then he does the but thens and thens. Like he just says an event and it's linked to those, and then it's so
post that in our group. I'm sure my brother would love to watch that too.
I'll post it right now. I'm getting it.
Yes. Well, we're I'm gonna go through your guys or our stuff we're doing. Let me see. Narwhal, of course. Pull you up. People could find you at Narwhal Comics on eBay here.
Yeah. Catch up on my work. So I'm gonna have more re-release of Nosferatu this winter. Cerberus 2 is in production. It's like pretty far into production. That'll be very exciting to release early next year. Earthbound Grand Prix Part 3, also exciting. So next year should be busy and fun. And maybe some Narzac projects.
Oh.
And yeah, so stay busy.
Yeah, keep trucking along here. I think there's a future ahead of you up here. Bright future.
I see wonderful collaborations in your future. I don't know why. I have a feeling.
That good things are ahead. I don't know why. Don't know what it could be.
You'll do pretty well, I think, young man.
Methinks a future this one has.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like 8. Well, just real quick, I tweeted the other day. Earthbound's 8 years old now, so it's just kind of fun. Yeah, it's like getting
crazy.
into. It's been a while at this game called life.
Yeah, it's a long, winding road.
Hard work paying off kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we got Fiendish.
Yeah.
2.5 all ships. You could still grab it on the site.
Yes. All the books are on the site. Chapter 1, 2, and 2.5. RJ still has stock of the permanent market covers, which are the only ones that are for sale on the site because my campaign covers are campaign exclusive, as you all might know. So you can still order the books and a bunch of tchotchkes from the shop if you missed it. But in the meantime, also be sure to sign up for the email list. That giant red email sign up banner there. Yes, right there. I have a big universal email list, so that I don't use nearly enough. But if there are any new releases when Chapter 3 is ready, or if you want some sneak peeks, which I'll probably start sending as I work on Chapter 3, then sign up for the email list. It'll be fun stuff.
Yeah. Also, you got some awesome merch on here. Is that in your shop?
Yeah. I have like 3 or 4 stores really, but this is the Fiendish store. All the Fiendish stuff can be found here. Yeah, I have like my own another shop on Store Envy. ReneDraws.com is my main website. But yes, this is the actual Fiendish stuff. Yeah, look, that's Bancroft and I modeling the Fiendish hats at Tampa. That was fun. So those do exist. Some good merch. Get yourself ready for fall with beanies. I got apparel, pins, standees.
I hear it's going to be a fiendish fall.
Yes, it will be, and maybe the world will burn down, but that's okay. You can prepare yourself from that right here, FiendishComic.com. Arm yourself for the coming apocalypse.
Yeah, head on over there.
Yeah, get some books to read, cozy up as the nuclear winter sets in.
Yeah. And then head over to ZadeComics.com. We're going to be doing a hot drop tomorrow. New shirts. We're implementing kind of the printful stuff that Irene has on her site. We're putting it on the Zade Comics site. It's freaking awesome. My brother was showing me the website and like setting up all the merch and stuff. It's really easy. And so we're going to be doing a lot more shirts. It's going to be a hot Shelby Robertson drop tomorrow. So if you guys are a fan of Shelby, come on over to the Is Brothers show at 7:30 Eastern time. We're going to have that available. And we're going to premiere the new trailer for Psycho Slumber, the 60-page one-shot crossover between the Kill Journal and the Lost Pages. If you guys haven't signed up yet, come over to the site, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be the first to know updates about that and some discount stuff as well for the campaign, which is launching the 30th. It's like in 2 weeks. So super hyped about that. I think you guys are going to dig the trailer. We got John Dillard doing the voiceover, the golden voice of comics. It's freaking sweet. I'm super excited. I spent like a few days making the trailer this week. So premiering tomorrow, then we'll post it on Saturday and all that good stuff. And we're going to be on Bancrofts in a couple of weeks with that. So go ahead, get caught up with everything over here. And then, of course, the big October news is Carnal the Barbarian is going to be crowdfunding.
Yep, it's coming. Carnal is coming. It's going to be coming hard and strong and on October 1st. Going to kick off Cocktober with the launch of the very first book, the Cocktober surprise. Yeah, it's going to be very. The rough pencils for every page are done. I think it's 44 or 42 pages long. I'm so happy with how it's looking. I previously was saying that it's like part 1 of 3, and in a way that like they would have a overall story that plays out across all 3, and the first one was going to end on a bit of a cliffhanger. This first one now, it's turned out to have its own. We keep talking about the next big thing stream where you start off at home and you end up at home. It actually has that. The first book has that now. I'm so proud of it. There's
awesome.
I've taken everything I've learned from these creative writing streams and put it into this first book. But yeah, also Phil, if you look in the chat on Twitter, I can't pull it up with my current setup, but I have been working on the pencils for the wraparound cover for issue 1, and Phil can actually show it on screen. I did a little export.
Did you post it?
No, it's just in the chat in Twitter. You'll have to go to our chat and pull it up.
I got it. Just found it. Yeah, this is much better.
You could save it and then drag it into it. There you go. But yeah, this is the work in progress for the pencils. I'm going to print this out. I already have the paper. I'm going to print it out and ink it by hand. But look at that! Look at that! I'm so happy with how this is looking. Like I usually draw
details.
I usually draw stuff so quickly. Like this banner, I drew it in a day because I just love getting stuff done. This is taking me days and days already. I'm kind of taking a Rini approach to drawing it. Like she takes you should see how long she spends on stuff. She like agonizes over every detail.
It's not good. It's really not good. Yeah, don't do this for everything.
But
this looks very great. This is worth it for covers.
See, because every page is composed as part of a spread, they can be read individually as a full page, but they become a cohesive spread in the book. I thought it would only be right to make all of the covers for Connell always wraparound covers. Look at it. Look how good that boot. Look, yeah. So he's looking freaked out because he's holding a head, but he's going to be looking freaked out at some seedlings that are walking towards him on this outstretched arm. They're just not drawn in yet. Like,
yeah.
You know, the inspiration for these covers are the Futurama box sets for the DVDs. You would like get all of them and put them next to each other, and they would be like a whole thing.
Oh wow, yeah.
But each one had a focus on a main character in it, so they would, again, just like how the pages are all done in spreads, but each page can be read individually. It's like anytime I want to do wraparounds or like multi covers, like each one is going to be focused on as if it's the front is a good cover in of itself. You know what I mean? So I try to make this a really nice cover of its own, but then you get the cool other side of it, which still has a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, it's like a lot of characters and a lot of events that take place in all across the first story, all happening at once. It's like an alternate version of a scene that happens in the book, but like everyone's there for some reason.
And I love, dude, the depth on this is crazy awesome. With the through line with this thing. Yeah, so cool.
It's fun to have an element that you can throw around like that and just put like a tubular thing.
Yeah.
Angela says in all caps, she's gonna back. Good, thank you. Anyone who's enjoying this, get ready. Go to connellcomic.com or bluedickaxe.com and sign up so you'll be alerted when this goes live. But yeah, I'm very proud of how that's turning out. I can't wait to have it fully inked, and it's not going to be 2 bits of paper stuck together. I've got huge paper. Like, hold on, it's over here.
Big paper this guy has.
Look, I got this huge ass fucking pad of paper that I'm gonna draw that shit on.
Dude, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, very happy.
Kick ass! Everybody, sign up. And make sure you guys are following us too. We have some super chats. The meme is done. Mr. Alex VRB says, thanks again for another fun episode. Meme is up. We're going to look at that. And then Cranberry Landry says, tomorrow is Friday in California. Shoot. And then is the bang bang emojis.
What does that mean?
You don't know that?
What does that mean?
Do I have to show you?
It's frying thing.
Hold on 1 second. Let me show you. There we go.
Today is fine day in California. Huh? True.
Do they make you watch that in school, Irene? When you
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, that's how I learned English. That's how I learned the English.
thank you
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
super chats. Here's a very special bonk just for all of you that have been here.
This
I am
this
numb
meme
to
is
the
great, by the
pain.
way. This meme's really fucking good. This is a good meme.
Let's see
Okay.
what's going on here.
Okay, so look, it's the multiverse, right? So they've got different us. It's like a collection of past memes.
Oh, that's great. That's cute.
You got
Look
fantasy.
at that.
There you
What is
go.
this
That-
I'm
face?
gonna have fucking nightmares of that, Phil. Holy
that's Russian dog walker Phil. Remember, this is
Oh,
Russian
is it?
mafia
fucking
Phil.
terrifying.
Mm.
Jesus.
See, we got D&D pair here.
No, is Pear there? Is that the one from where the giant banana was behind us all? Are they like they're fruit bats from the ceiling? I think that had a giant banana in it that was chasing us. Maybe I do remember the hype gay space wizard.
Oh, I remember that elf. I like that elfie.
That's Fantasy Irene from when me and her were arguing in the election debate about coffee
Yeah.
versus gout energy.
Yes, yes.
It's amazing.
Truck Coon. Someone got isekai'd. That's what we're watching.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that Jake dead? Superman
me,
Jake.
Dead Superman.
Dead Superman Jake. That's right.
Jake is looking over Jake. Or no, that's me.
Wait.
Up on the top. Yeah.
Yeah,
There you are.
Wait,
That's
so
you.
did Jake
Whoa.
get Truck-kun, or are we all about to get Truck-kun is the question.
Jake is doing an upskirt on me right now.
Yeah, what is up with that, Jake? What are you looking at?
Oh no.
You know what I'm looking at.
Oh my goodness.
The only thing worth looking at.
Look at this emo. Remember when I was emo? Emo Phil right there.
You're not still
This is
emo?
new. The three multiverse superhero ones. They're new.
Yeah, I know, but he gave me emo hair. He was
Oh.
emo a few weeks ago. She's so sad.
Oh,
Is
so
that the Dark
sad
Tower
now.
behind everyone?
Yeah, there's the Dark Tower in the back. Appreciate it. We got a poo over here.
At least a Pooh's in our universe.
Yeah, we got a poo. He died.
Apu got isekai'd into our
Oh,
universe.
The ghost of Dee Dee. People who've
Oh,
got the
no,
Connell
Dee
preview
Dee.
book. I hope you enjoyed the second scene in the fucking preview. Featuring everyone's favorite character, Dee Dee, in a starring role.
Who are these guys? This is the Christmas Carol, right?
Yep, that was in a previous meme. I think he's copy pasted it from that meme too.
Awesome.
Funny.
All right. What do we say here?
Christmas Carol comes up a lot.
It's a classic.
Yes.
It's the original story.
I lost it. I lost the touch.
When did you say that?
When I said I had to rewrite my personal script because
Oh yeah, that was super early on.
The second half worked.
It's Jake here.
This universe is 42069 no scope GG noob.
Said you use some British colloquialism I don't understand. Yeah, what was that colloquialism? Debuff?
Debuff? What?
Something. It was in DM.
It was
Tea
too
time.
early.
Oh, a de facto?
Yeah, de facto.
Do you not know what the word de facto
Isn't a Britishism?
It's your British mumbo jumbo, okay?
I don't
Let's
think
move
that's
on.
Okay. You just reminded me that FMA did a multiverse thing and it annoyed me so much.
That's perfect. Yeah. And your
I'm
microphone
trying
didn't.
to do.
Yeah, you didn't even get fully cut
I
out.
found the perfect pitch where I can do a high anime voice and not break my mic. I figured it out.
Poor Mike.
Look at me master this craft.
That's amazing. This is like, and this center piece here, the new part, is like a Tom King-esque crisis book. Like it's the superheroes standing around being sad about dead Superman, Jake. You nailed it.
Everyone would be sad.
Why is Pear's box red? There has to be some code here.
Oh, that is interesting. He's behind it all.
Yeah, what did we talk about today? What that would cause a red box?
Oh, there's Trunk Cocoon. This is awesome. Once again,
I
thank
don't have
you.
enough to parse this. Yeah, good meme. Thank you, Al.
Great meme. Let's
Red
see.
box.
People are saying de facto is perfectly cromulent.
Yes,
Perfectly cromulent word.
Cromulent.
Cromulent.
It's in the vernacular, I guess.
Cromulent is a Aussie word.
Yeah.
This is splendiferous.
That's not a real word.
Yeah, that's a made-up word, unlike all
See?
the other words that aren't made
It
up.
does. No, de facto and cromulent do sound ornate.
I'm very triggered right now.
The word embiggens the stream. All right. Are we hitting the hay tonight, peeps?
I think. I mean, that's it. That's the second half done, right?
That was the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
half.
we kind of just rolled into it. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, it's already been 40 minutes since after
Mhm.
2. Well, I had a good time, guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Well
It was
done.
a good
Phil.
show.
Good job. I had a great time.
I didn't know I had that much to say about multiverses, but as always, we have a good discussion, guys. So well done.
Yeah, next week is Irene's.
Yeah, I'll take it. And shout out before I forget. Yeah, that was such a cute
That's what I was
meme.
looking for. I liked that one so much. I have it in my phone still.
I like that one too. Michael Odin, who's my editor on Fiendish, has a new book out. Well, he has The Embrace 2 just launched.
Yes.
And also he actually translated this bande dessinée book from French. So he's crowdfunding the English version of this really beautifully drawn bande dessinée called Odin, Odin. I know his name's Odin, but the book is Odin. That's why he took on the job, because his Norse mythology. Obviously, he likes Norse mythology. Anyways, so that's, I think, on Kickstarter. I retweeted it. Check it out. He will be on next week to promote those things. Yeah. Thank you for the links, Alex. Everyone go look.
Yeah, so that next week Irene's, and tomorrow Diaz Brothers show. Be there, premiering that awesome stuff, new shirt. And are you guys doing any streams tomorrow night or this weekend?
I should be doing a stream with Ali because we skipped last week. So
cool.
I think you did it last week.
You know what? I've been wanting to do a stream series where I read Tails Gets Trolled out loud, but I don't know if I can do it.
Okay. No one else knows what it is.
No idea.
It's just a webcomic. I want to study webcomics a little bit. I want to study their moves.
Yeah, I might do I mean, not this weekend, but maybe I'll do a stream of a reading of comics. I don't know if people will want that. I know people like that because I do the voices,
Pretty weird idea, Phil.
But
reading comics.
Yeah. Read comics, guys. All right.
What is that?
I read the first few pages of the first Lost pages and texted Phil my thoughts, and I bet he
Yeah.
does.
That was like a week ago.
And
I was like, this shadow guy is the perfect Reddit voice guy.
Yeah,
sure.
read our comics, guys. Don't let them collect dust in your mail carry-all bag that you carry around.
That you
Just
all
read 'em.
definitely have.
Yeah, they're
If
just
you're,
purses.
especially if you're, yeah. May or may not be directly addressing Bancroft, who has said he has not read either of our books. So please
Yeah,
do that.
and
Thank
probably has a European carry-all.
Bancroft's read your books. He just happened to do it on a stream.
Yeah. Now he's got to read number 3.
2.5.
Oh, Bancroft, read 2.5 and tell me how good my colors are.
Yes.
Yeah, read it.
That's the
Yeah.
part of the comic, the colors.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Copyright.
go. I have no place to send you. Go find another stream, and then tell them we said hi. Bye, everybody.
Woo. Bye.
Eat.
Woo.